Hello and welcome back to the Raspberry Podcast. It's been a while, I think. I'm trying to get content out for you guys. I'm trying to get podcasts out. I genuinely am, but it's difficult. I've been traveling around. I got rid of my studio because I'm not there enough. So now I'm fully mobile. Lugged all of my equipment all the way to Australia, all the way to Thailand, and didn't manage to get any podcast in the end. But I'm traveling around the UK now. I'm doing a seminar tour. If you want to come to a seminar, by the way, I'm not planning to plug that right now, but check out my Instagram and you can see where I'm doing seminars over the next month. But got my microphones with me, and I'm going to try and pick up as many interesting podcasts I can in the next month or so. So hopefully this will be the first of many more podcasts to come in the near future. This podcast I'm super excited about. My guest today is the legendary David Horne. I've been a huge fan of David for a very long time. He is a massive name in the grip community, the godfather of, I say UK grip, but maybe, actually pioneering grip all around the world. Wanted to do a podcast with David for as long as I've been doing podcasts, and I finally convinced him to do it. We speak in this episode about so many different things to do with strength, whether it's stone lifting, arm wrestling, tug of war, training for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, injuries, so many different things. Really enjoyed sitting down and chatting to David, and I hope you guys enjoy listening. Check it out. Awesome. Firstly, David, thank you very much for agreeing to do this podcast.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I know it's been a while getting to this point, but we're here.
First, you have been someone who I've personally wanted to sit down and podcast with ever since I started the podcast. I wrote a list of people 3 years ago or whatever when I started the podcast, and you were one of the very few people on that first list.
Oh, I'm very honoured.
And I remember first time I came and met you and we trained in here and I mentioned you and you said, "Nah, I've done a podcast. I'm done with that." I thought, I'm going to have to work on this guy. I need to get him in front of a mic. But
it's a funny thing. It's like I'm very old school. Podcasts weren't even around when I was starting, or even midpoint. So suddenly talking about yourself or that it's tough. Yeah. It's not my forte.
Sure. But that's my job, to force you to talk about yourself, because man, you're an absolute gold mine of knowledge when it comes to all things strength. A lot of people think, and we're going to talk about this as we get into it, but a lot of people, obviously you are the grip master. Everyone knows that, but I think that's actually belittling your knowledge. You have so much experience with so many different types of strength sports that just looking at it from a grip perspective is actually not doing you justice.
Yeah, 300 competitions. I was looking actually this morning to see how many 300 competitions since 1986. So in a myriad of sports.
So this is strongman. Obviously
grip. In its earliest days. We're talking my first strongman competition in 1990.
Yeah.
The weights are a lot different.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But
there is no, there is an open competition. So you're standing on that field, or standing on that field, and it's John Paul Sigmarsson.
Yeah, what are you going to say? What was it like? What was it like competing against John Paul?
They were guesting that day.
Okay.
But it was still a super honour, right? Yeah. I still got the photo of both of us running with the farmers' walks, and I think I came third in that event. We were 100 kilo in each hand. It's like really nowadays 100 kilo.
They'd be doing double that these days.
It was up that way and back, and that was that event. But if you look at those photos from that particular thing, and even around that time, the guys are a myriad of bodybuilders, powerlifters. There was George Garmstone in there. He was the powerlifter from that British powerlifting champion. You had Jamie, obviously John Paul. They were strongman, but even they had backgrounds in bodybuilding and powerlifting, and he had other bodybuilders, or a couple of other bodies. Swain from I think it was Rotherham or something. It was a myriad, and I came in from kind of all round lifting, tug of war, and arm wrestling, but trained on everything. Yeah, and you've all got short shorts on or trackies on. There's not a piece of neoprene to be seen. There's no tacky. It's basically. This is the contest. That particular Midland Strongest Man was run by Johnny Humble, and it's just, this is the event. Yeah. And it's like, you're just learning as you go. They had a push press from rack. They had a caper toss for distance, farmer's walk, truck pull. On grass.
Yeah, I quite like that about sort of the early days of World's Strongest Man, which was you didn't know what events there were going to be. There were some wild events, you know, there'd be arm wrestling, some of them, and even that might have not been a great idea considering people can get injured very easily. But you know, holding swords out at arm lengths.
Sumo, they had sumo, They had that's the ground. That's the beginnings of World's Strongest Man competitions. And I actually look at them with quite fondness because, as I just said, you got Magnus. You got I think probably the first couple one who start to really be strong men. Yeah, maybe it's Magnus of Magnusson, Riku Kuri, Yoka Ahola. When finished, took it a bit more. You know, not serious, but they had suddenly built the equipment.
Yes,
no one had equipment.
Yeah,
so if it had, you know, stones, no one had stones.
Yeah,
you know, maybe John Paul had stones, but nobody really had any of this equipment. So you had a truck pull. It was basically, you know, you got somebody's vehicle and pulled it along somewhere, and the rest of them you turned up, you trained hard in the gym,
just trying to be as strong as possible.
You were the strongest guy in that area. You got your invite. And then, as I said, it was just vests and short shorts or trackies and trainers. But nowadays, and then quite rightly, you know, when Eddie Hall comes here or any of the guys, any of the strongmen, quite a lot of them, they come with a bag that looks like it's a trailer. With the amount of kit that's in there. They have shoes.
Different shoes for different events.
There's all sorts of stuff. But that's how sport develops. And every other sport that I've been there, arm wrestling, grip sport, etc., they've all developed beyond recognition of their early days. But that doesn't mean the early days aren't important or the early days weren't fun, and they were hugely fun.
For strongman, I preferred that. I think with strongman now, you know what events you're going to. There's going to be a log press, there's going to be Atlas stones, there's going to be a deadlift, there's going to be a squat, and there may be variations in the equipment, but it's all pretty much the same. For that reason, you can have gyms with loads of logs, loads of stones, yoke, farmers, and you know that you're going to pretty much get all the training in.
That is the nature of the beast. It kind of has formulated into, you know, powerlifting. You know, or all round, or weightlifting. You have to remember that weightlifting was a myriad of events back in day. Because it was, they even had the Olympic lift. It wasn't the Olympic lifting, the weightlifting. It was just called weightlifting. They had the clean and jerk and snatch, but they also had the press. And also they had the one hand jerk and the one hand snatch. So, but eventually in the times. You know, I
think they had.
I think very very early ones. I've got the one hand snatch and the one hand clean and jerk.
And shoulder
press. In
Britain,
Britain they hold it for a lot. Well, there's the press. I think it's the Munich Olympics, so 72. I think that's the last press. And the reason being was because it wasn't in fact, the press weights and the clean and jerk weights were quite similar. So once both of them cleaned it, obviously the jerk was a jerk, but the press turned into what's called a bow press. So
they bend backwards.
They bend back and flick again and then catch it. So it was resembling a bit push pressy stuff. And obviously the International Weightlifting Federation deemed that was the end of that one. And it's a shame because it took away the power event, so to speak. Maybe should have just slightly adapted the rules somewhat. Because all those ones were in there, and they rescinded it and took it down and down and down, and you just have the two. And that's kind of like if you even look at powerlifting. Powerlifting in its early instances comes from Thomas Inch writes the rule book for Baller in about 1910, somewhere around that time. I can't remember without looking at my files. In that, it has the deadlift and all sorts of stuff, and so you get the deadlift, of which then at that moment in time you could hitch.
Okay. Strongman style.
It was a little bit different. You had your heels together.
Ooh.
Yeah. You ever see pictures of?
I've seen. Yeah.
He's got his slacks on.
Yeah.
So you would deadlift this to a knee and then position yourself underneath and hitch this barbell up. A lot of the times it was what was called a pull-em cambered bar, so sometimes you use a cambered bar, and so that's it. So that rode for quite a while until, I mean, powerlifting's still quite new. It arrives in 1960s, early 60s. Baller again, British Amateur Weightlifting Association, sees their numbers in Olympic lifting diminishing. Gone is the days of Ron Walker, the Ron Walker plate over there. And so they know bodybuilding's the new big thing.
Yeah.
And so they start putting together an event called the Strength Set. I don't know if you knew this.
No.
So this is the early powerlifting. It's called the Strength Set. And so they knew what the exercises that the bodybuilders were doing. So they brought in squat, bench press, and curl.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the Strength Set. So that was this new event, which became very popular.
Yeah.
Its next step to lose the curl. The curl was getting, well, very quickly, as soon as you put competitions in place, the rules were getting so that it was getting more heavy and more back bend and more heaving the thing up. So the curl changed they changed it to a deadlift, and then there's the amalgamation with Americans who were starting to pick on that at the same time. I can't remember the particular kind of, it was Britain and America all got together, and that's your first powerlifting. So they changed the name to powerlifting. They might even had those first one as Strength Set, but it was Strength Set and then it was powerlifting.
Wow.
And that's it. Squat, bench, deadlift.
So before it was
curl.
It was curl instead of deadlift.
Curl instead of deadlift.
I much prefer the sound of that.
But the curl was starting to use more back
because they
than the deadlift at the end anyway. The amount of throwing up.
Because they do strict curl competitions now. It's back against the wall. That's how they fix it. Yeah.
There's been some, I think maybe still now Denis Saplankov holds the record in that. I think it's about
the Armwrestling
120. Don't quote me on that, but it's certainly in that zone. Yeah, it's quite big in Russian states and country.
Yeah.
They have a board. They also have it in America as well. And you obviously pick up your EZ bar, bum, head, upper back against the wall, and when you wait for the referee's signal, and then you curl it up and obviously lower it down, same thing. And yeah. See, that's how they could have changed the curl, just by having it against the wall.
Yeah, but that's so weird to think about.
I have done quite a few of those particular curls against the wall, and they're great.
In competition, or
no, not in competition. We use it as a training.
I considered competing in trying to compete in strict curling. Because it's probably my best lift, bicep curling.
You obviously were pumping the bis up in the day.
Maybe one day. Who knows? Who knows?
You know, everybody wants. You know, everybody who says they don't want some biceps is suddenly they look at the sun comes out in June and they go, "Damn! It's another winter lost. I should have done some bicep training."
Well, that's one of the reasons why I like doing jiu-jitsu, because it's actually a bicep dominant sport, so I can train my biceps and just say that I'm doing it.
Legit.
Just say that it's functional.
It is functional training to the highest. Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah.
I was talking to a guy I was training with in Australia, actually, and he was saying Dan Gable, apparently his big thing was, he said bicep curls are the best exercise for wrestling. When you take underhooks and stuff like that, it's all about biceps. So I'm like, cool, back in the gym pumping some iron.
Well, you saw those exercises we did
yesterday. They were wicked. Yeah.
Because the curl is different to a lock.
Yep.
And we chatted about that yesterday, how different the two of them can be. The majority of arm wrestlers will do full range curls, but the lock training of just holding it in a position that is where they arm wrestle at is so important, and I use it very extensively when I'm ever at my height of arm wrestling.
Yeah. So anyway, let's go back to, I want to know how you got into strength sports. Because like you said, so you know, we started talking about strongman here, and we'll talk about it more later. But
that jumped forward.
You've done, that's perfect. You've done strongman, arm wrestling, tug of war, grip sports, stone lifting. You've done so many, almost everything there is to do in strength.
Strand pulling.
How did you get into, or firstly, when did you realize that you were a strong bastard? Because that is one thing you certainly are.
That's a really interesting question. Let's see. 16 arrives, I go to work, just the same. I was a landscape gardener, so just, doing stuff like that. Digging, a shovel in your hand, basically.
Were you a big kid, or?
Because I've got those original info, and it's got like the stats,
Sure.
Oh man!
Because you're what, 6'2"?
6'3".
6'3".
At my
105 kilos, and you got pictures of you from 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You never looked like a skinny guy.
No, I think at 16, I'm probably, I'm at that particular time, I'm kind of more interested in going out and getting girls and fighting.
Yeah.
It seemed to be. So my body weight was probably 11 to 12 stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my dad bought me a 140 kilo set of weights when I was 17 and made me a wooden bench. So that's that. I've got training books back to, it was at number 45, but that initial one.
That's when you started writing the books?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something I was going to bring up. David has basically every workout you've ever done since you were 17 years old.
Yeah.
40 years of, that's insane.
It's they're all there in the library, and so you can look at them and you can marvel at how weak you were, and also you can marvel
how strong
at how far you've come,
yeah,
and also the technical aspects, and it's got everything written in there. It's like a diary, there's like things that have happened, and they're noted in there, and there's training tips all the way through it. So if I have to, I'm now retired from the grip sport as such, as major competitions. That's it, it's gone. But in the time, I would look back to see how a particular training routine went for a particular exercise, and look back at that and just look at all the tips and things that I wrote. Because a millimeter here and a millimeter there is ginormous, and the assistance exercises I would use are ginormous.
Yeah.
So you just wrote your new program out.
Yeah.
But back to.
So anyway,
back to 1979 now.
You got your first bench?
We got the first bench. Obviously, I don't know, we're starting off with 50 kilo, 60 kilo.
Yeah.
Measurements are being done as you were. My dad, my dad, because his brother was a bodybuilder.
Okay.
My uncle Dennis was a bodybuilder. And so
was he someone that you looked up to for that sort of?
Because he was my uncle, and and every time I would go down to see him, it had all these weights. It was great to see. But realistically, up till that time, I was this person who liked punk rock music, wanted to get girls, and wanted to be a dick and fight. So it's kind of it's when you start to do the thing, then you realize, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And even that period of time from that period of time from 79 to the 80s, I'm doing it, but it's not taken over me if you get So I move. There's work. I'm working my manual job, and eventually I move up to Stafford to where I am here. And then there's like I don't know what's a pivotal moment. Obviously, my uncle dies. That's not the pivotal moment. I was just starting to do training.
Yeah.
It's really it's nearly like he hands it over. It's ridiculous. But it isn't. It isn't that. It's just that he dies and I start to take it serious.
Yeah.
And in that time, that's it.
You were in.
Yeah. I even, it's like a funny thing. I was going to go down and get his weights, and I crashed the vehicle on the way down.
No way.
And I never got it. In fact, my wife then went through the windscreen, so it was not to be. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So that was life. That was life at that. We're at 85. And realistically, from that time, I'm starting to train seriously. It's a minimum 4 days a week. I remember going to a seminar with Lee Haney, because at that moment I am looking at bodybuilding magazines.
Sure.
And
that's how so many people back in those days would train. They get their programs from
Flex, Muscle and Fitness, Body Power. I am in Body Power, and I'm in Bodybuilding Monthly, but that's a little bit further on.
Yeah.
It was quite amazing at the time that when, holy shit, there's my photos. I'm in these magazines that I was just buying them from W.H. Smith a couple of years earlier. Yeah,
I had the same with like Martial Arts Illustrated and stuff like that. Or some fighter magazines. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
It's a different thing now with the internet and
of course.
magazines, because you would go and buy a magazine.
Yeah.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
But anyway, don't want to sound like a dinosaur. So we get to 85, we're moving to 86, and at 86, I now am that 15 stone guy.
Yeah.
But here's an interesting thing is that to get that mass on, I had to really overeat. Really. Yeah. I mean,
would you consider yourself a hard gainer then? Or?
No. I've written for hard gainer. You've probably seen quite a lot of articles back in the 90s. I wrote for hard gainer on basically writing grip articles in the magazine called The Hard Gainer. But I wasn't a hard gainer.
Yeah.
You know, nobody can say that.
Sure.
And also, I'm not 100% whatever the word is with the hard gainer. Kind of, I've seen articles where people are like, they're training once every 10 days.
Sure.
That's not enough. Look, I know this is not going to be their bag, but in real terms, most people can work 5 days a week. And I think that's what we have to think, is that you can train. And what you got to do is get yourself used to it.
Sure. You can't go from 0 to 5. Yeah.
If I employed you on landscaping, first couple of days, your skin's all gone.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, I can't work on this one. Within the week, you think, on the Friday, I've given you your wage, and you think, I'll never fucking come back. Week 2, guess what? Back's hurting a little bit less now.
Yeah.
Week 5, 6, I'm employing someone else, and you're not the new man anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
It's because you get used to it.
Yeah.
So it's not that you're overtraining because I've thrown you in the deep end. It's that you've got to get used to it. So whatever your training is, you've got to get used to it. And I think we said yesterday, there's no Olympian out there, or world champion, or a great UFC fighter, or anything else is not doing 5 to 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And more.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. But that's it. You got to work your way up to it.
Yeah. So back then I was doing that for. I was eating all sorts of things. So Blender was my friend, but if I just drop back to 1979 when my dad wants to put the weight on me, he says egg and milk. So that's great. Egg and milk is ordered, and I've never had any egg and milk. He says, I'll get it for you, son. So he's got a cup.
Oh, so you're talking about just egg and milk?
Just egg and milk, yeah. Well, but bear in mind, I've never had this before. Yeah. So he drops an egg, drops another one egg, puts some milk in. This is a whisk it up. You won't even taste it. He's got the fork. It's still looking like it's egg and milk. And there you go, son. Glug. So I drank that one. I'm never having that again, Dad. Never. That's
was it the taste? How did it make you feel?
Oh, horrible.
Really?
Horrible. Yeah, it was.
Did it agree with you?
Gluggy. It was horrible.
I've necked a few raw eggs, and I don't mind it.
It was a whole big thing.
I'm not sure I could do a whole glass.
It stopped, and it was like all continued. And it's not so nice. Yeah. And thank goodness. So we jumped forward there to 1986 or what it is now. 86. And we got liquidizer's just been invented. Well, it probably hasn't just been invented, but I now see it in a shop, and I buy this thing. Eggs and milk. Zzz. Oh my goodness, it's now a milkshake. Yeah. This is beautiful. So then, eggs. I remember so I would have the drinks through the day, eggs and the milk in the morning, and there was one day for shits and giggles, I had 30 eggs in the morning.
No. So you would blend. You'd blend the milk and the eggs,
milk,
and it was okay.
I put all sorts of things in it now, because I put what flavors and bits of fruit in and all sorts of stuff.
I might have to give this a go.
Well, it became, it's the flavoring that makes things, because egg and milk still on its own is like egg and milk.
Yeah,
you can guess what it is going to taste like. In fact, just make up your omelette, and then before you put it in the frying pan, drink it, and that's an egg and milk. But yeah, you put your flavorings in, and I would end up putting ice cream. Anyway, the stepping on the scales, the body weight went up.
Yeah.
And that's it. So from that time, 86, of getting to 15 stone, that was it. I never dipped below that.
Yeah.
Heaviest I ever went to was 115 kilo.
What were you doing at the time?
Oh, I think there's a photo of me at 115. There.
Strongman or just grip?
That's
or
20, whatever that one is there. I've got a jumper on. Felt too bloaty.
Sure.
Yeah.
It
wasn't good for anything else, really.
Yeah.
Felt strong, but God knows how. Well, Eddie's been here 190 kilo or whatever it is.
Yeah. He was close to 200 when he did the 500 deadlift, right?
Yeah. It's this. He's walking around with a fan here. He was
too hot.
Yeah, he came to the door and he's got a fan in his hand.
Really?
So, wow, that's the first time I've ever seen a man walking with a fan.
Because he's just so big, he's so hot. That's crazy.
That's unusual. Come on in.
Electric van.
Yeah, it's a bloody big thing.
No way.
Yeah. So from that time on, it's 86. there was a magazine that just came out. So this is back to those magazines. And nowadays, everybody can find everything.
Yeah.
So 86 comes, and there's a magazine called Strength Athlete. Oh, it was like, oh my goodness. And I had been watching the World's Strongest Man competitions, but it was suddenly this glossy cover.
So World's Strongest Man is
77 is the first one.
Yeah.
But it was the first 3 or 4 are in America.
Yeah.
And then the first one that goes,
it was pretty much just America.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
Kaz isn't in it anymore, and Capesy wins in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then there's the Iceland one where I think John Paul Sigmarsson beats Jeff, and then the arm wrestling, and then the arm wrestling between them, there can be only one king or something when he beats Jeff. So they were super characters. You had Kaz, Capes, and Sigmarsson. So much so that they
ran a tournament with just the three of them in the castle, right?
It was called it was at Huntley Castle, and it was the Ultimate Challenge.
Yeah,
of which Sigmarsson was a beast.
Yeah.
He was ginormous.
Yeah.
He was huge, and I think he won nearly every event bar 1 or 2.
Yeah. So just before we carry on, because we're talking about Sigmarsson, you spoke to him earlier. For those who don't know who he is, who don't follow strongman, potentially one of the greatest of all time. Question for you on strongman: who do you have down as the greatest? Because really, it's between John Paul, Kaz, maybe Brian Shaw, Zavickas. Who do you reckon?
I've met quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
A bit like here. You got Grip Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's hard to compare.
The years, yeah. You got to go by generations, really.
Yeah, it'd be the same as if you had the Boxing Hall of Fame. How can you
same
compare
for
Rocky Marciano?
Yeah.
They are the kings at their time.
Sure.
So it's nearly unfair. Yeah, there's Brian up there. There's Magnus Samuelsson up there.
Yeah.
There's Janne Virtanen up there. So it's really hard. I think you can't compare that. Some of those competitions, they've got the oxygen bottles, Farmer's Walk. Elizabeth, when she did the 2001 Glamazon, which was the world's strongest woman qualifier, 2001 in Scotland, all the ladies were there. The Jill Mills and everybody. Superfield. Dave Webster ran it with Dougie and Dougie Edmonds, and they brought on the cylinders, the Farmer Walk cylinders that maybe maybe 10 years previous. You see the photos of Kazmaier and Sigmarsson running one, and these are the women now using it.
Wow!
So if you take the figures and numbers alone, if you take what Kazmaier's log press was
compared to Zavickas,
or anybody, and it's unfair, really, isn't it? Yeah, at that time, Kazmaier is one of the greatest powerlifters. 300 kilo. In fact, his bench press disappears because of the bar bending. He does a massive rupture on his pec with the behind the neck. One of the bending events.
On World's Strongest Man.
I'm trying to remember which year. I can't remember which year.
Franco was there. Colombo, wasn't
But Franco was a little bit early. He blows his knee on the refrigerator.
Yeah. But, as I said, the events were so awesome back in the day.
They are incredible. But I think that particular year they used cold rolled steel with quite a spring in it.
Sure.
And it's not the cold rolled steel is the issue, but it's the
they have
behind
the technique.
The neck. Don't take it behind the neck.
Yeah.
So that blew his powerlifting, his bench press, should we say. But that was it. So an amalgamation of what they did at that period of time. Kaz certainly stands in that 70s to early 80s. Mm. But you can't knock Jeff Capes.
Yeah.
Because here is a guy who clearly, pound weight for weight on a static lift is not the strongest man there.
Yeah.
But we always talk about rule sets. And when you arrive at the competition and the competition is such, he still won World's Strongest Man.
Yeah. Same for Magnus for Magnusson, wasn't it?
Well, Magnus for Magnusson was a far better powerlifter than what Jeff Capes was, or even anything. Him and Halti Arneson are doing the powerlifting competitions, IPF powerlifting competitions. I'm watching him in those competitions. nearly prior or about the same time as they start doing some of the competitions like pure strength and obviously strongman competitions in Scotland, and coming over for the throwing. But I like Eddie.
Yeah.
I like Eddie Hall. And I probably like him because he's 15 miles up.
Sure.
And he's been in here quite a few times. Yeah. And he's a hell of a laugh.
Yeah.
He is exactly as you see him on the telly, pissing around.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Yeah.
So maybe that's my favorite strongman.
What do you think of him? Obviously, I think it's obvious why he did it. What do you think of him retiring after just the one World's Strongest Man victory?
Well, it is very, very... Look, in sport, it's very, very easy to suddenly say you're going to do the same thing again.
Yeah.
But it's not as tasty second time around, and there's more pressure.
Yeah.
It is hard. You win one big thing, the biggest thing in whatever your chosen sport is, you have to win it again. Coming second is not the same. Now, you can be one of these particular people who do the chosen sport, and it's like, okay, I'm going to do as many of this particular. I'm going to have a real good time. So you're a winner in your sport. You win one of your no-gi comps, and then next minute you're third or fourth, and then next minute you don't qualify, you're back in or win. And so maybe the greatness has looked at your career for a long enough period. Yeah. The slight difference is with Eddie's there is that's hard on the body.
Yeah, and what he had to do to his body.
Ginormous.
Yeah.
It's a hard games. I think he made the right decision.
Yeah, I think so.
And also, I watch a lot of his shows and that now, and it was about time that he got some finances from it.
Yeah,
because if I remember rightly, he was a truck mechanic.
Yeah, he was working whilst competing for a long time.
And Mo, who owns a lot of the clubs up in Stoke, he said basically, "I'll fund you," and so that gave him the all clear to train all the time. And the times he's been here and the times that I've coached him up there, I've never seen anybody with such strength endurance.
Really?
And I'm a person who can train all day.
Yeah. But he comes from a swimming background, a lot of people don't know, Very good swimmer.
I had him here. We must have... I think it might have been 4 hours we trained.
Wow.
He brought two people along. The training partners got burnt out. And then he was... Let's see... Yeah, we're doing a steel snap, probably hour number 1.5 or 2 hours, and so he's over there. He's like sweat's pouring off, just like he has been swimming. And he's saying that's the hardest thing he's ever done.
Yeah,
and then he's just like, "Well, let's just do some more." And so we're doing a couple more exercises and a couple more exercises. And then we get the two-hands pinch lift out. Now, bearing in mind the world record is, let's see, it's not mine anymore. It was 122.96, mine was, but now Cody holds it. Cody Burns of America, and that's about 124. Sorry about the not getting an exact number. So we're working on it, and I'm pretty short. I think I drop a 110 or something, which is unusual for me, but I'm quite tired.
Yeah.
Next minute, he's making it look like it's easy. Like, jeez. And I says, you want to feel what the kind of weight was? And he was like, yeah, let's put it on Instagram, unofficial world record. Man moves there a little bit.
What weight? 125?
125.
Really?
I've moved 125. I know how much training I had to do that.
For people, they don't understand with these implements how. In case
I remember when Eddie came here before he'd won the World's Strongest Man, he employed me to train his grip, because he said I've got issues with it, and I said you haven't got a weak grip.
Yeah,
and we looked at everything, and no, he hasn't.
Yeah, no,
not at all.
But have you been watching the Strongest Man in History, that TV show with?
No, I haven't got that channel.
Oh, it's brilliant.
But I knew all about that because back when it was really filmed on the moment, he was sending me videos. From the I think it was Paul Anderson's place. Pinch lifts.
Yes, that's right.
He sent me he was sending me the videos with him and Brian Shaw were doing. He says, but keep it quiet.
Yeah,
and then that was about another 6 months.
Because I think Brian might have one of the strongest grips of all time. Watching him go through stuff.
Very, strongest grip. I get asked, that might as well be about the strongman as well. Everyone here has a thing. You have to remember, like, these particular people at the back here, Louis Uni and they were doing incredible things at the time. Herman Gorner doing incredible things at the time. We've got more documentation now, so we can see things and we can compare people with each other.
Yeah.
All depends on the event.
Sure.
You know, Brian Shaw's a giant.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's so
clearly
so big.
Something that's going to be a wide hand kind of thing. Yeah. Wrist.
Yeah.
You bring in Storm Cellino.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, or you know what I just told you yesterday about what he's doing with the inches.
Yeah.
He's deadlifting. That's with thumbless grip. There's a extremely small number of people. I mean, I think it's 3 of us.
You being one of them.
Yeah.
Who's lifted the inch dumbbell. For those who don't know, is a legendary dumbbell, 78 kilos. Circus dumbbell. These big globes on the end with a 2.5 inch handle. So very, very thick handle.
So you get people. It's very hard for them just to lift it normal.
Yeah.
But then
that's an understatement, by the way.
That's the thumb on one side. But then what we do is we take the thumb out and we just lift it.
Yeah.
What's it called in BJJ?
Like a monkey grip or a thumbless grip. Yeah.
Thumbless grip.
Yeah.
So we lift it like that. And that's a whole different ballpark.
Yeah.
A whole different ballpark. There's a very small. And Storm Cellino, the arm wrestler, has recently been doing 1 in each hand.
Wow.
And then just recently, about 2 or 3 days ago, he's a wonderfully strong guy, arm wrestler. And he's walked with him.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how big a feat that is.
Yeah.
Now, we're just saying about Brian Shaw. So we there's a picture of Brian Shaw. He's just stuck in behind somewhere.
Yeah.
But so you got Brian Shaw. Now he could manhandle those with the normal grip, but thumbless. I'm not sure. You need a wrist.
Yeah.
You need a wrist.
Yeah.
And arm wrestlers are all about wrist.
Well, it's funny. You see, have you seen the video of Hathor Bjornsson arm wrestling?
Devon,
and just Devon's obviously one of the greatest arm wrestlers around.
Yeah, great arm wrestler. I met Devon at Arm Wars in Manchester.
Yeah.
Lovely guy.
Yeah, he seems like a really nice guy. He's Canadian, of course, he's a nice guy, right? But watching him manhandle Hathor on the table is just...
But it's not surprising.
Oh, of course it's not surprising. It's like a
different sport.
Hathor got on the mat with Roger Gracie. It's going to be the same sort of thing.
Hathor got on the mat with you.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Maybe he'd get tired pretty fast.
The only thing would be was Hathor gets on top of you.
Yeah.
But then I'm 100% sure that still most black belt BJJ guys will be able to get out.
Sure, eventually they take the back and...
Yeah, and also, Hathor's going to be trying to just break your arms.
Yeah.
And you're just going to get out. And then eventually, quite quickly, probably within 2 minutes, Hathor is now going to be gassed.
Yeah,
big time,
yeah.
Of which basically you'll come round and put him out of his misery.
Sure. I like to think that.
There. It's all going to finish.
Well, did you ever see that video of him sort of lightly sparring with Connor?
Yeah.
Right. The size of that guy is just insane.
Well, I mean, obviously, that's a little bit different kettle of fish. Okay, a striking battle.
Yeah.
But you'd be slow.
Yeah.
You'd be slow. It's a different... all these things are different sports.
Yeah.
We're getting off tangent.
Yeah,
here,
okay.
But there is a thing about... And no doubt we'll come exactly back to it, is that the easiest way to get better at something is to do the exact thing.
Sure. Yeah. So we're going back to you. You've started bodybuilding. You're drinking your milk and your eggs. You're starting to get quite big. When was the first time, or what was the first strength sport that you got into?
1986, and it's tug of war. And I do 9 competitions that year.
How did you get into tug of war?
Well, that particular time I was living at Nosal, which is another village.
Yeah.
And these farmer communities, they have tug of war. And it was like, come on down. And that was it. Suddenly I was pulling in the team. And for those who don't know, tug of war is 8-man team.
Yeah.
From number 1 to the anchor man.
Yeah.
This is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, anchor man. And most of the time I pulled at number 6, number 7. Or
would you have the stronger guys would be at the back?
I'd say that because that's what usually happens.
Yeah.
But I remember pulling against a 3A team from Telford, and they had the biggest guy at number 1. It's kind of like pinned up like that. And I've pulled at number 1 as well for another team who was short of a man. You're really low.
Yeah.
On number 1, you're there, and you slowly go up to anchor, which you take the rope round, and you see, and you lock in.
Yeah.
Sort of like that. It's team sport.
Yeah.
You have a coach here at the side, and So the two teams, and it's ready to go. And the rope can sometimes crack because of the pressure. And it's insane. It's insane. And it's all about getting the pressure. It's a pressure team we were. So you just apply pressure. It's incredible. And then eventually you can just feel.
Yeah.
And you just get another foothold, and then it's like a big millipede.
And you'd have big spikes in the shoes, right? No?
No, you had
they have that these days, they do? Or?
No spikes.
Really?
No spikes at all. Because it would be dangerous.
Yeah.
If I slipped in
Sure.
7.
Okay.
So what you have is big boots.
Yeah.
But on the bottom of the heel here, you have what's like a metal heel.
Yeah.
And
you dig that in.
You cut it in.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you do an indoor tug of war, you've got like AstroTurf shows.
Yeah.
I never did indoor tug of war. You pull flat-footed.
Yeah.
But on outdoor tug of war, you pull on the heel.
Yeah.
Superb sport. Most of the times I pulled all the way to in 3As and the Tug of War Federation to the Nationals, and that was a hell of a lot of fun. Our team, just because it's the weight of the team, the individual was best at the 640. Different classes: 560, 600, 640, 680, 720 in catch.
Yeah.
We would probably usually get there and we're overweight. We're running around the field with bin bags on. We haven't eaten anything.
Jiu-jitsu people listening would know exactly how that feels.
So eventually, because it's a huge scale, it's like a cattle.
So everyone gets on at the same time?
All on at the same time. You're all on there. 640, good, you're off. Now you're starting to eat.
Yeah.
Tug of war was a hard sport.
Yeah.
Quite a few times I'd be like, ready, go, and that first pull, I'd come off and honk what I've just eaten up.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just too much effort.
So in a day of tug of war, like how many? Because everyone knows what tug of war is, but nobody really knows about the sport. I think it's one of those.
How many teams, depending on round robin, etc., and your pool.
So how would it work? You'd have a flag in the middle that would have the crossover one side.
It's got two lines. A line, and then you've got two lines on the rope, and you pull over.
And how many rounds would you do against one team?
Best of 3.
Best of 3. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great sport. It's absolutely a wonderful sport. I can't.
What's the history of tug of war? That must have been going on.
I think
one of the oldest sports around.
It's in 2 Olympics.
No way.
By 1920s, yeah. And the World Tug of War Championships is ginormous.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And also one other quite really interesting thing is that when you represent England for tug of war, they don't take the 8 from different clubs. It's the team.
No.
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of good teams around in the Stoke area. Leek, Sheen Farmers, Norton, over at Burton area, Holland. And so your team goes to represent Britain.
Yeah,
so you
it's
wear
not
the England
individuals.
shirt.
Yeah.
No, it's you win. So it's
because it's the whole team is treated like an individual. Yeah, they all get on the scales together. They compete together.
And if you win, you qualify as England, and you represent England as your team.
Wow.
Yeah. So
would that have been the same in the Olympics?
So it'd be a bit like in football. If you took it to football, Liverpool clearly going to win the league this year, so they would be representing England in the in the World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is different. So that one I remember we moved into 87. That particular year, I do 26 competitions. So that was basically
every other weekend.
Yeah, it was. In 87, I have I come back from tug of war, and my it's just like well, I now have a second son being born.
Yeah,
it's being born. In the hospital, so it's a crazy time. So I'm training 5 days a week. I'm working. In fact, I'll just come back. I'd either go to the gym or I'd train with my own stuff, and I'd just have the wellies on. So I'd work, I'd go train, and then I'd have to go to tug of war, 2 training sessions, and tug of war at the weekend. It was busy. Yeah. But I was a young man.
Yeah.
And then with 2 children, 2 sons, Jason and Oliver. It was fantastic times. So then we move into sort of like then we're moving on to the later 80s, and I've now been lucky enough to not be doing manual work anymore and gone into security, and then moved from security. I've been given this chance to go on a what do you fancy doing? That was it. And and I said, I tell you what, I'd like to be an instructor. And so the government at that time, I think it's under Maggie Thatcher, it might have been, or certainly whatever, said, well, you can go and do a course. So I went up to Bolton to there and did my instructors and my senior instructors courses when Oscar Heinestam signed my certificates. That was it. I got a work placement because I didn't have a job. I was working part-time at security.
Sure.
I didn't have a job for 6 months or so. So I was helping out doing, other sort of jobs, and then they gave me this chance, and it was fantastic. So that was it. I never looked back.
To teach
strength and training.
Stuff,
so I got my first placement at Burton-on-Trent at Johnny Humble's gym, and that was fantastic.
Wow.
And so it's that area now that I'm getting an interest in strongman.
Yeah.
Strongman is starting to show, and all-round weightlifting as well, which is the Iowa now. It was called something different before. It was British Weightlifting Guild. Yeah. And before that, Boiler. So I certainly wasn't a one-person thing. I did one powerlifting competition in my time, and I trained also in that time, about 88. I'd go down to Walsall, and I went to the powerlifting
squat,
club.
deadlift, bench, or
yeah, and it killed me off.
Yeah,
it was like, is there nothing else?
Yeah,
I was like, there was a little organisation called Association of Strength Athletes, ASA, it was called. So I even said to them, "What about the ASA? Oh, swimming's good for you." No, I said it's a strong. Oh, no, don't really know. Okay, and I thought, I know powerlifting's not for me.
Sure,
do the training, but I needed more. I needed more excitement, more things. So the strongman coming in, you were just finding events that were just there. There was clearly no weight classes, no novices. You turned up and it was very much the same. And then we're rolling into Midland's Strongest Man time, 1989, 1990s. And it was superb. Then, just prior to that, I've been given my first old book. It was Sandow, Life as Movement.
Uh-huh.
There was a particular guy in the town, South African guy, and he says, "Yeah, you might like this."
Yeah.
Anyway, the book is unreadable. Really, it's shit, but the photos are fantastic.
Sure.
And I thought, I've got to have some more of these. So that collection starts then.
Yeah, David has the most incredible, antique book collection of strong.
Probably. I mean, I've been to David Webster's house. It's insane. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. You can forget the whole house. You can be in each room. He's got stuff out on the side.
Yeah.
He's got there was just statues, Hercules statues at old bar. Like down there, the ones. 1911, 1800 stuff down there. But they're all down there. His was just in the garden.
Yeah.
Got Charles Sampson's Globe barbell out there.
Wow.
And he was just telling me the story of it's one where they would put it onto pillars but nobody could lift it, and then all of a sudden there was a little screw, and under the screw and some sand was coming out, so it'd be lighter for when he came through. And, hey.
Yeah.
But that's early vaudeville and musical.
Yeah.
So, that's it. We are now building a collection. And it was a lot cheaper to build a collection in the 80s and 90s.
I imagine so.
Without going too far off, because the problem is I get in so many things.
That's great.
Okay, I'll go to this one.
Yeah, go for it.
We'll jump forward a bit.
No problem.
So I love books, and I even worked as selling books and antiques and collectibles. But by the by, I would always have my fingers in pies and ear to the ground. And so you'd hear of books coming on, great, I'll have that. So every so often you get somebody who's going to ring you up. Back in day, that's what it did. People did actually ring you up or letters. And so I had this person, I've got some books for you. Oh, that's good. You any idea? I don't really know. It's a box of them.
Yeah.
Great. Can I come up? Yeah. It's on Moss Side bookshop there. Okay. I'll come on up. I'll come up on Saturday. So I think I had £100 in my, which back it was okay.
Yeah, for books.
Okay. It's absolutely fine. Yeah. I thought this will be enough for whatever the books is. And I'm bearing in mind that I'm not a rich man.
Sure.
And I certainly wasn't a rich man then.
Yeah.
And so we drive up there, and I go in. It's an old antique bookshop, and that's great. And I said, "Hey, I've come to have a look at the books." He said, "Oh, they're over here." And immediately when I saw, I thought, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
Look, I was pulling out books that I'd only even heard of.
Really?
And it was like, oh my God, this is super rare. Oh my jeez.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to stay cool. you know. Yeah, and I'm like, oh shit, I only got 100 quid. Anyway, so I'm like, yeah, I've got some of these, and some of these will do fine, and so I've got to come to the well, you know, I can do £100 for you if that's good for you. Hoping like he's not going to say 105. He goes, yeah, that's good. So I said, well, I have a cup
Should
of
have gone in lower, yeah.
And that was it. And I'm like loaded boxes.
Really?
Boxes.
Wow.
I remember moving one of the books on later, and it was £100 for the book.
Wow.
One book.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a large part of that collection is these particular books.
Oh, yeah, no, it's incredible in there. How do we go on to that? Strongman stuff, right?
Yeah. So that we're arriving in that late 80s, early 90s, and we are now a collector of items. And competing, and competitions, everything from I've now started to even do all sorts of stuff. You know, the all-round weightlifting. We've started to run the first grip competition in 1991.
So let's talk about that, because obviously that's something that sort of you're known the most for. When did grip start to stand out to you?
Grip.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the first competitions are in France. If I remember rightly, it's
grip competitions.
Yeah. Well, let's the first time anybody did grip is probably when farmer said to another farmer in about 1300s.
Can you pick this up?
Working 14-hour day. Can you pick this one up?
Yeah.
And maybe for a pint of mead or whatever there was.
Yeah.
But the first one I was actually found, and I was in my collection of French magazines, La Culture Physique, which is it was Debonnaise magazines and runs from the 1900s. And so those early ones, they are brilliant. They are gorgeous. It is, for the interest of the people here, those early magazines of what Debonnaise recorded, and also in the Health and Strengths, it's strongman weightlifting, but it's wrestling. Wrestling's big. Wrestling is your entertainment. Your strongman is your entertainment.
Yeah.
You've got no telly. And what you're doing is you're going to the theatre, to the music hall on the evenings, and you are now watching the lady sing, the magician, the wrestling match, the strongman, etc. Yeah,
people don't realise how massive the old-time strongman stuff was, that golden era.
That golden era is ginormous.
That people would be filling arenas, huge arenas, to watch people lift stuff.
You've got two kinds of wrestling also. I mean, we're well off tangent here.
That's cool with me.
But you've got the wrestling of what is now performing for the particular people in this musical. And a lot of that will be, worked.
Yeah, well, so I was talking to when I spoke to Cameron on the podcast a while ago about catch wrestling and the birth of catch. It was they would basically go until someone quit, or it was a submission, or maybe a pin, and it would take so long that they couldn't possibly do that in front of an audience. So they do it
a sport,
and
entertainment, are two different things.
So they'd have the real match day beforehand. And that would decide the winner of who's going to do the work match.
But it's not necessary.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's, I think, originally that's how the work
They can just have
started.
a work.
Yeah.
In Europe, it's huge. You've got the big European tournaments, which are mostly Greco-Roman. And, I'm trying to remember, it's freestyles. It's even, I think it's mostly Greco-Roman.
Sure, yeah.
And there is catch coming from the northern Lancashire area. And so you've got this mixture. And you've got even the odd matches where you'll see every so often in the Health and Strength, it's the Jap, as they call it, Jap Jiu-Jitsu man versus the wrestler. So that's your entertainment. And there's no way that these guys were doing, because they would be at that particular thing for the whole week, and then they'd move on to the next place. And the same with the strongman. So you're looking at it with a different eye of when we see somebody doing they would clearly do their pet feats. So their pet feat is 150 kilo or whatever, and they can do that once off in a contest, but they're not going to do that twice nightly, every day. No. So sometimes
they'd fake
sometimes weights are
exaggerated.
It's easy to get underweight weights.
Sure.
And that's clearly how things will work. It was a show. And so a lot more was on the particular show. So these guys were showmen. But they all did legit comps as well. Well, not all. The ones now, with hindsight, we know are the greats.
Yeah.
Did the legit records and say in front of Pullham, or the legit competitions, the legit things.
Yeah.
But show is show.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
So, because we were speaking about it earlier, what's your take on Mr. Thomas Inch? And the Inch dumbbell?
I wrote a whole. I mean, in Grippopedia, there is basically one whole volume on the Inch dumbbell. It's fascinating because I've lifted. There is.
I still need to find someone who will sell me a copy of the Grippopedia.
Well, there is 1, 2, 3. There is 4, but we know where 3 of them are.
Inch dumbbells?
Yes.
Really? Ones that Thomas owned?
Yes, Thomas owned. They are identical.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're identical.
Yeah.
I've lifted to two of them, one in each hand. But the actual one, the 172-pound, 78-kilo one, the history goes to Thomas Inch, Burt Lightfoot, isn't it? Then Reg Park, and then Dave Prowse.
Yeah.
Star Wars man.
Yeah.
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader, yeah.
And he sells it to John Wood in America. So that one's in America right now. There is other ones. So it was, if you ever read the times when Edward Aston is even talking, which inch is it now?
Yeah.
You know, because it was very, very easy. At that moment in time, they're all the same color.
Yeah.
And so which inch is being brought out? And also which style of lift. I did a ginormous research on it.
Yeah.
But my assumption is that he lifted it.
Yeah.
One of them. He certainly didn't clean it. No.
Was it claimed that he cleaned it?
Yeah. Oh, well, the claim is that he took it overhead. But even if he moved one of them, he popped it onto here, heaved it from there, and then...
Has no one's cleaned it yet?
Yes, there is.
Have they?
Yeah, there's Lane Snook over there. Rich Williams. I'm missing a couple. Yes, there's the... other strongman, really good, which I've totally forgotten his name. Yeah, I think there's about 4.
So it's the double inch clean that everyone's talking about to be like sort of the next ridiculous record with
that particular strongman, I'm just trying to say.
He's done double?
He got really close.
Wow. Yeah. No one's done double yet?
No.
Yeah.
It's a big task.
Oh, shoot, ridiculous, yeah.
But yeah, you go back to that. That's what life is back then.
Yeah.
And... it's very interesting. So we're back to what grip was. So in France, they actually had the world, and obviously prior to that, the French card tearing championship. So that's where kind of grip starts.
Really?
It is, yeah.
So what's the history of card tearing?
Packery. I see them over there. The French guys there.
For those who are just listening and not watching, you should watch because we're inside the grip factory. This is David. This is one of my favorite places on the planet to be in because it makes my gym, which I feel is relatively well equipped, look like a kid's
sandbox. There's a lot of pictures around, a lot of steel,
and the walls are covered in pictures. He's got the Grip Hall of Fame through the different decades, through the different eras, with all of the different strongmen back from Donald Dinny and Saxon and all of the guys over there up to sort of the modern day strongmen over here. So very, very cool place to be.
It is. Yeah. I like it. It's a good sanctuary for me.
Yeah.
We then move on to sort of like the 50s.
Let's say quickly, card tearing championship. Yeah. Where does, because I've done card tearing in the past, and people always ask me, why are you doing this? And I just go, well, it's a strongman thing.
Somebody's climbing a mountain probably today. Why are they doing that?
Someone just
they're
thought
getting cold. Yeah. They spent a load of money and they stand on the top of the mountain. But until you stand on the top of the mountain, you don't know why it's good.
That's I guess so. It was simple as that. As a strong guy in France ripped a deck of cards and they decided who could do it.
A few of them, Packery, Gills. There's a few of them. They had speed ones, X amount of cards. We have to sort of just haul it back here with an asterisk. Cards are very different. Cards. They're no paper cards.
Yeah. It would be much easier than the ones these days.
It's basically as you can understand. So nowadays they have a plastic coating,
and even today there's big variations, huge.
So that kind of thing. But obviously on their competition day, they all use the same cards.
Sure. So you still get
a competition.
So when was that done? the first card.
Yeah, I think that's about 1908, 1910 kind of period. And then we jump forward. You know, I'm always searching out. There's probably other competitions and other bits and bobs. There's certainly people performing and stuff. There's Alexander Zasas performing in the 20s, and he's got to, come up and have a go at a bend on his in his performances. But that wasn't a competition as such. It was, but it's not. We then really move forward to the 50s. There's three of them kind of vying for British bar bending championships. One of them being Harold Cope from Derby. You see, and they're up there, just to the side of the pennant. And so they've got various, not smack talk, 'cause it's 1950s, but you know they're writing letters to the Health and Strength.
Okay.
So it's degrading each other as well. If this was being done, of course they've got their slight, as we know from steel, you can be good at short bar and not so good on long bar.
Yeah, so everyone has a specialty.
Yeah, so they never quite got together fully but there was Jeff Morris competed with them. So, but the two main protagonists, not quite.
Yeah.
So that's a fantastic time. I do like that. And Harold Cope was he employs. In fact, you see Sid Harmer over there with the leg squeeze up there beside the culture physique.
Yeah.
A lot of the styles we use now, they're 100 years old.
Yeah.
We haven't really found anything better than the leg squeeze.
Yeah.
You know, for that position where you go from there to there.
Yeah.
The leg squeeze is a bit like a scissor. For the Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys.
Yeah, if you get that one annoying person who gets under side control and just goes for a leg scissor in your head, imagine that, but with a metal bar in between, and that's.
Well, do you remember Ed Strangler Lewis?
No.
Yeah, that's another one. He had a dummy, a head made up. And it was leather coated. It's got a patent. You have to have a look on Google.
Really?
Ed Strangler Lewis, head dummy.
And he would practice
patent.
Squeezing?
Yeah, it was in the shape, had eyes and that, and it was like two halves. So like a big Easter egg, but head size, cut in half with springs in the middle.
No.
And you see photos of him. He's like,
no way.
That's
so cool.
I always wanted to make one.
Yeah.
I think I've got to make one.
Oh, if you make one, you got to make me one.
It does sound it should be done.
I've always thought about making some sort of like squeezing, choking device.
I mean, clearly he's a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
But he's closing out a lot of people with his head squeeze. I mean, it's a wonderful gimmick, but you know, maybe that back in that day, that is, I'm trying to think, that is 1920s, 1930s. So there is working, but there is probably, I don't know, he's fully listed in Korea. There's a lot of other guys out there who have an insane knowledge on the
old school wrestling.
Old school wrestling. I wasn't even going to call it professional because there's certainly a mix between the two of them.
Well, like back on, if we go to the first bit of the Grip Hall of Fame, most of these strongmen were wrestlers as well.
There are a lot of them. I mean, let's think. Super well-known old-time strongman, George Hackenschmidt, George Lurick, Ivan Podubny, all insanely brilliant Greco-Roman wrestlers. We're all strongman. In fact, the hack lift is is termed from Hackenschmidt's name.
Yeah, because for me, that's like, if I could do one thing with my career, it's to try and get back towards getting that combination of that going back to where
I think you
the grappling and the strength training.
You're known as that person.
That's what I'm trying to do.
The strength exploits. Combined with the grappling exploits.
Yeah, I just think, you look back, this isn't something new. This is something where the very, very early origins of our grappling arts came from a time where it was combined, the strength training and when they say strength training, not bench press and squat and deadlift, but all of the stuff that they're doing.
Well, if you were going to have a sort of thought process about, the marrying the two of having the strength that was going to be useful. Steel bending is is one of those things. It's Lucy does it, every week, and her grappling's all right, but her grappling's all right because she's a grappler. But
we'll definitely come back to talking about steel bending later for sure.
So if we go there, we're in the 50s. We've moved forward. 70s, the Thomas Inch dumbbells being sort of moved around at various places, and people are now, trying to lift that. And also that 70s period is the Dinny Stones are kind of being found again by David.
Yeah.
So those two things are, if you get your magazines, there's not a ginormous amount of feats. You have to remember your magazines at that time are just, it's the bodybuilders at the time, and then it's this crazy feat, which might be the Thomas Inch dumbbell being performed or brought somewhere. But then we do go on to, realistically, the first all-round grip competition on the planet is in Burton-on-Trent in 1991. Of which on that
you ran.
Yeah, I ran. We had 2 hands pinch, 1 hand deadlift.
On a barbell?
On a cambered barbell. That's a story in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We were just going to use a normal barbell, but I can't remember.
It's very difficult.
Brought up a cambered barbell. Yeah. And I bombed.
Yeah.
3 times I got it up, but I wasn't used to the camber.
Really?
It was.
So you preferred a straight bar?
Yeah. Absolutely.
No way.
Yeah. I had
How comes? The camber bar would be easy, you'd think, because the weight is sitting slightly below where your hands hold it.
I clearly touching this thing for the first time.
Sure, just different. Yeah.
So I was my opening weight 180 kilo, and I bombed it.
Really?
And it was ridiculous. Bearing in mind, I pulled 230. One-handed on an Olympic barbell.
That's, hook grip?
Yeah, hook grip, of course. Yeah.
230, one hand.
In fact, that Olympic barbell over there, the one with the center knurling, which is an Udenholm bar, like an Eleiko.
Yeah.
Fast spinning. But once you've got a hook on, it's not moving.
That is an insane feat.
Yeah. That seemed... The last time I did that, and we were massive off track... Aaron Page, I think it was Aaron Page was up here, the strongman. Quite a few of them, and we were talking about that, and I think I rode it up to about 180.
Yeah. And
I felt quite pleased that I got 180.
Yeah.
Because a long time. 230 is back in a long day ago. That's... it's 90s. Yeah. In fact, there's a photo of me just under that piece of rebar, using the same barbell, standing beside John Paul Sigmarsson.
Yeah. I see it.
And that's a middle fingers deadlift. Just one finger of each hand.
One finger each hand.
And that's using that barbell. And that is I think that's 185.
Jeez.
But we got up to 195,
wow.
196.
Wow. The middle fingers.
It's left in that decade, that millennium.
Yeah. So what made you decide that you were going to run a grip tournament?
Well, at that time, I've got that big time, a lot of interest. I'm also in contact with a lot of these guys you see over there.
Yeah.
The likes of Bruce White in Australia, who, insane athlete. I've met most of those. There's Frank Allen there, there's Paul Shaw, George Christian, Richard Soren. You're meeting and chatting to all these people. And so grip is already
a thing,
an underground thing.
Sure.
It's what it is. And I thought, right, let's just run a comp. And the fairest way is to always have an all-round comp.
Yeah.
And everybody has a day. Like the competition we're running soon, the Europeans, I think all 5 events, somebody will win. Some different person will win, really. 5 different winners.
That's the perfect comp, though, isn't it?
It is a perfect comp. As a promoter.
Yeah.
So that was it. So off it went, and we ran it. And
wow, I didn't know it. We spoke about this yesterday. I had no idea that until yesterday that you were the first person to run a grip tournament in the world.
Yeah,
or in modern times.
It takes. So we run it every year. Goes from Burton-on-Trent, goes to the Riverside Recreational Centre, and it goes to a few places. So that's the only comp that year. So we get competitors coming in from abroad, from Sweden, Canada, America, all sorts of places. And it was always an open tournament, and it's just one class for the guys, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsus. For a long time, there was no weight classes.
Yeah.
And when I'm saying a long time, till right into this, I don't know, 10 years ago, 8 years ago. Yeah. So you had to compete with all weights.
Everyone.
Yeah. So if you got like one of those world's strongest hands competitions, there's 130 competitors.
Wow.
Class.
Wow. And now people are running grip tournaments all over the world.
Yeah, there's tournaments everywhere, and it's a tough one. It's brilliant. There's more and more people. We used to have an IGC, an International Grip Collective, back quite a few years ago. So we'd have 5 people voted on.
Yeah.
And I was always one of the persons that people voted for, and that was quite good. And so we would help out promoters and look at decisions that needed to be, mulled over.
Yeah.
And one of them was the weight-ish, the body weight classes. And I remember that one coming up, and I was like, I voted against it.
Yeah.
And I thought at the time it would. I could see because I remember looking at powerlifting competitions and other competitions that have really gone down a path now where nearly everyone's a champion.
Sure.
You're the winner of 2 or
obscure divisions. Yeah.
And hand strength is kind of strange because you can still get somebody who's 70 kilo and they can really go. But I understand, look, because it got overrode and weight classes arrived. And clearly, when you look at our weight classes from the top to the bottom, we do the IPF ones, so it's 59, 66, 74, 83, 93, 105, 105 plus. 120, sorry. We can see that the heaviest guys now, even on the grip things, it goes down to less weight for the smaller guys. So in theory, I think I was wrong, and that's right. But now we have so many organizations, much like every sport.
Yep.
And so,
I think
whereas at one time there was a world champion, or a very small select of who the best was on the planet. Now everyone's got.
Yeah, there's like 5 European championships for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. But we're not at that yet. We're just one European. But there is all sorts of other stuff.
Sure.
Okay, if you be in bring a plus point, it's good. More people do it.
Yep, sure.
But it's nice to know the true people. And maybe we still know who the truly strong guys are.
Yeah.
But
it just might take a little bit more looking into. You can't take it at face value.
No, it's it's easy to have a medal. European written on it.
Yeah. So when did you get into arm wrestling?
Okay, arm wrestling. Well, we are just going to have to drop back a little bit to the 80s, and there came, and you see a few of the trophies among all those.
Plenty of trophies, yeah.
There was a tournament, I can't even remember the full thing, but it's arm wrestling, and it was done with a machine.
Really?
Yeah. So you got the table,
and
in the middle you got a light and a bell, and you've got a machine in your hand, and you can go right-handed or left-handed, and there's the other machine on the other handle. So it's just pure side pressure, pure arm break and side pressure.
Yeah.
And I went to the first one.
The whole tournament was just that?
Yeah, it's just 5 or 3 weight classes. Might be, super heavyweight, and middleweight, lightweight, 4 weight classes.
What's the point of that?
Oh, it was pretty incredible. It's a totally different sport, really.
Really? Yeah, it's just
so you had some very good arm wrestlers,
like robot arm wrestling.
Yeah, you went side pressure. I've got photos and newspaper cuttings, so you'd have to see it to believe it.
Yeah,
and ding, 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 you're the winner. And so that's my first phrase, so to speak. Although I dipped my toe in at one other arm wrestling comp, somebody else drags me along one, and there's a northern one. No, it's over in Burntwood, that's it, of where I see the first arm break. Yeah, I was like, ooh, he didn't look he's in a bad position, he just broke his arm.
So this happens occasionally.
It does.
So obviously, like famously, there was one at a World's Strongest Man. I think is Magnus Samuelsson was the arm wrestler who
Nathan Jones is the man who.
That's right. Who plays? He was in. I think he fought in Pride actually. He was Boagrius in Troy. He's an actor, big guy, huge guy.
I mean, Magnus Samuelsson's not small.
No, he's not.
Mega Man, as he was called.
Yeah. And I think he competed in Pride, very early days Pride. So yeah, that guy got around, but yeah, he arm wrestled with him, and obviously Magnus was a arm wrestling champion at the time.
Yeah, he was. I think he was European number 1 or number 2.
Yeah, and he snapped his arm.
He didn't snap his arm. That's what the misconception.
Oh, really?
Everybody thinks. Yeah, because what you do is you snap your own arm.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So he snapped his arm, but he snapped his. Okay.
Yeah. Because as soon as I put back pressure on, and you start to go sideways, and you rotate, basically.
Do you get a spiral fraction of the humerus?
That's it.
Jesus.
You put the torque through the humerus, and
that's a bad break.
I think it's...
You had to get pinned?
Depends.
Yeah.
But I think it's one that, you know, the arm wrestlers who have it done are absolutely fine after, and they're not going to break in that position again.
They got metal put in there now.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, the metal's out. The thing will, that bone, just like any other bone, will
just
heal
becomes
better.
stronger.
I mean, I would guess it feels funny going out for the first arm wrestles after that.
So what is the... Because, you know, I have no real experience arm wrestling, but I've seen people say, like, look at your hand. Because if you look at your hand, you're not going to get to sort of... I think when someone looks in the opposite direction, you know, for people who are pissing around, and really you shouldn't really piss around arm wrestling because you end up fucking yourself up sometimes. You hear stories of people getting drunk at a house party arm wrestling, someone snapping their arm. But I think it's when someone is being pulled backwards and they're looking in the opposite direction, trying to fight through.
Yeah, the position, what you obviously people on the camera can see that's a bad position, but whether you do it in the pub or you know, or let's just talk to the people who are going to just do the Christmas arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Keep your elbow inside of your body.
Yeah.
And keep yourself. So this is important. Basically, like, don't allow a gap.
Yeah.
You know, which is basically what you
between
guys
your
do.
body and your elbow.
This is crap. That's better.
Yeah.
So once that happens, that's good. The misconception is you're going to push sideways.
No.
You may. It looks like the arm goes there, but you actually you're safer if you do back pressure. So if you had like a pretend pulley coming over the top of your shoulder, that's doing a pulley. So that's what you want to do. You want to load into the person's hand.
Yeah. What a really fascinating thing about arm wrestling is, I think arm wrestling is the perfect name for it. It is more of a wrestle than people think. People think that it's just a contest of strength, who's stronger, who's going to be able to pin each other's arm to the side, but you're reacting to someone. There's different techniques people don't realize, but you know I've not done, but I've played around with some arm wrestlers, and you know, between the back pressure or top rolling and side pressure and pulling and opening the person's arm and using the tricep, there's actually a lot going on there.
It is wrestling.
Yeah.
It's wrestling. It'd be the same of standing wrestling with someone else. You know, when we do that lock and load exercise, we don't have a table underneath us. Yeah. So that's what you are basically doing. You're doing wrestling with another person where your elbow skims the top of the pad.
Yeah.
And you want to use your body weight.
Yeah.
So this misconception of like some kind of...
Yeah.
No, that's the quickest way to get your arm broke.
Sure.
It's lame.
Yeah.
Lucy will beat you like that.
I think Lucy might beat me regardless. We'll talk about Lucy later.
Yeah, she's
Lucy is David's 13-year-old daughter who
she's nearly 4 years now.
Who'd been she arm wrestles, does jiu-jitsu, is winning blue belt competitions in the adult divisions, is just taken both, because David's wife Elizabeth is also a arm wrestler, grip strength. Strong woman. She has bigger hands. She has bigger hands than David, who doesn't have small hands.
She has big hands.
Her hands are absolutely enormous, and
she's a super grip athlete.
And so they've created, so far, at least one of the daughters we know of, a complete freak of nature who is going to be pretty dangerous in the jiu-jitsu scene. I think
she thoroughly enjoys it.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that later anyway. So back to arm wrestling.
So arm wrestling is all about. I've had numerous athletes who come here, and it's funny because I operate it here for arm wrestling training, quite different to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Because when I see somebody coming into the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class, it's whatever class is on. So they learn, I don't know, it might have been Kimura that day.
Yeah.
And then there's an open mat at the end, where hopefully, they get a little bit of a... But it's tough.
Yeah.
Whereas I come in here and I'm not interested in I'm sure the first thing is all about safety. Everything's about safety. And then we just show moves. And then the next week or the next, I will just show the same boring moves. It's just, you need to drill. There's only so many moves, but you need to know the basics, and then you need to know the interaction, how you can move from one to the other. I think
that's a really good point. So the butt in there, but I think that's a really good point with jiu-jitsu. Actually, it's you. Whenever you come in, you're going to start training at whatever the instructor. Hopefully the instructor has some sort of program where they're going through different positions or different techniques for periods of time. But if you start a new class, you shouldn't be learning stuff that the other people are going to be learning, but just the way that it works like that, it's going to happen. I think that there's a lot to be said for beginners starting on you see some gyms run them, and I think I would do the same, run in 4-week, 6-week, 8-week beginners program where you get 20, 30 beginners in, and then you start them with this is guard, this is side control, this is mount, this is how to do the basics.
Because they don't know.
And then throw them into the class.
And also they don't even know the etiquette.
Yeah.
So bearing in mind that these are people who have been brave.
Yeah.
They've been thinking about it maybe for a couple of weeks. I think that's brilliant. I've just watched UFC. I think I could. And then they've taken, the balls and they've walked into the gym and everyone looks like though.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, I've just walked into the UFC gym here.
Yeah.
And then you're going to now just think how, everybody can be like, well, that was the same for me and that, but how many do you lose? They come once, gone.
Yeah.
Never to be seen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will get the animal. But if it was my business, so I could bring someone in here and just slam them arm wrestling. Here's another slam. Wow, slamming you in what position? I'll let you start over here.
Yeah.
Half an inch from the top. Doesn't matter. Use 2 hands.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What does that do for someone? They go, I'm never coming back there. That was shit. So you are quite right. Ironically, one particular night, there was some kind of accident on it, and suddenly the Wednesday night BJJ at Fighting Fit in the Stone, the one you were last night, Lucy was the highest ranked belt. So we had the class to do. And it was quite interesting because clearly we have knowledge.
Yeah.
So I took get them all warmed up with all that and some training and moving around with sandbags and all the stuff. And so they're all warm this way. And then she basically taught guard.
Yeah.
And side control, pressure. And that was it. And one of the particular guys was his first go. And he really, and from every time after that I see him, he said he was so thankful for that.
Yeah.
He was suddenly safe on his back.
Sure.
Spin around, He had something there.
Yeah.
And he also could, once he got something, he could just apply a bit of side pressure and hold a person. So it was quite two as you said, two important things.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just step in and it's a class and it's, there's something a bit more, what would it be, advanced.
Yeah. I think not even, it can be something simple, but I think that there's a massive advantage to not having beginners go in with everyone else.
I think so.
And I'm not talking for, there'll be some gyms that will not allow beginners to go with the other students, that they'll have to be part of the beginner classes for, until they get a certain number of stripes or until they get their blue belt. I don't think that's the case. No. I think a month.
I think you should be flexible.
I think 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I think 4 weeks if you train twice a week for 4 weeks, if you have a group that are all starting at the same level, never done any training before, and you teach them twice a week or 3 times a week for 4 weeks, then you're going to be able to put them into class with everyone else with at least a absolute basic fundamental understanding of the positions.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I can only know about the classes I've seen, and it's very lucky that at the Fight and Fit is that they roll with a lot of the top guys. They roll they seem to better know the pace.
Sure,
and that's exactly right, because it'd be the exact same if I was coaching somebody in arm wrestling. We're showing the techniques, we're going through, and you put a little bit of pressure on. We're telling them things, because I would have somebody do one movement, maybe 20, 30 times in a row. And I'd do the movement. I'd ask them to do the movement. It would be like, that's good, not so good, not so good, not so good. Better, more back pressure. That's bad. Yes, nailing it. No, off. Nailing it. Yes. And that's it.
Yeah.
So I'd have them, and I'd the same the next session. The same the next session. I want them to nail this movement. And now, the only difference is arm wrestling. There's only one arm.
Yeah.
Clearly in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I've got
there's a lot more things going on.
Yeah, like if Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was just like we lie on the floor and arm wrestle, then I might do quite well at it. But it's kind of like there's legs on show, there's my neck on show, there's another arm, and there's all sorts of crap. So I can clearly understand how it will be a lot harder to coach so many things.
Sure.
And probably the reason why it takes so long to...
Yeah. It does
to
even get a basic understanding of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the belt thing, the time frame thing, it's all hard. Lucy does minimum 15 hours a week, so I see how much hours you need to.
Yeah.
So there's no year time frame. It should nearly be on hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when those year timeframes are more based on assuming someone's training like
assuming, yeah. I mean, clearly by the time
a
person's at purple belt, they are clearly now not hobbyist anymore.
Sure, but yeah, so you had a competitive arm wrestling career for quite a few years.
Yeah, quite a long time. Look, dipped in and out. You know, I would have done. I'm sure Neil Pickup would be able to tell you how well I would have done if I'd have really sort of undertook it as the proper thing. Because I do my first majors. I don't bother with the novice. I just do the British Championships, and I'm there, and I get suddenly I'm getting a bronze, and then I'm suddenly getting a first place British champion in 2001.
Wow.
Competing in the Arm Wars competitions, the Eurosport Arm Wars competitions. They were superb.
Yeah.
They were incredibly well run by Neil Pickup. I did 2 world championships in Poland and Italy.
What's it like? What's an arm wrestling competition like?
The worlds. Well, I might as well talk about the worlds. The super matches of the Arm Wars are different because they're all kind of like stars because you're lined up.
There's your Polarises of the wrestling world,
of different standards. Like billing, like the billing. You've got you're on the same thing, and then maybe I remember Arm Wars was John Brzenk versus Devon Larratt.
Really?
And then there's lesser things. So
were you on a card?
No, I've got I think I'm wearing the T-shirt now actually. That one. No, I was on a card with many other great athletes, but not John Brzenk.
Yeah. Did you ever meet John?
No, I've met Devon. I've chatted to John via whatever it was back in the day, Messenger, oldie world Messenger.
For those who don't know John Brzenk, they need to watch Pullin' John. One of my favorite documentaries. This very normal looking guy who is just it goes back to the strongman thing. I know that you said you can't compare the strongman of old with the strongman of today, but what about arm wrestling?
Well, John's come back in.
How old is he now?
He's similar age to myself, but I think maybe 2 years in it. So maybe he's about 56.
But he's got to be one of the greatest of all time, right?
Well, that's quite easy to say that he is the greatest of all time.
He was undefeated
he won the biggest ever prize money in history when he won the Overtop. The film?
He won the truck, right?
He won the truck.
So there was an arm wrestling tournament.
Actually had the real tournament.
So
You see the thing with the characters. Bull Hurley, who was, he's an actual arm wrestler who's dead now, but I can't remember his name. So when you need Neil Pickup here, and all the arm wrestlers are there. You even see Clive Myers. Do you remember Clive Myers of British Wrestling Frame?
No.
Yeah, even he's there in the backdrop. Yeah. So that's that time, and John Brzenk actually wins the real. Cleve Dean's there.
Yeah,
big Cleve Dean. He wins the truck.
Yeah,
which I think was worth about $100,000.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah,
but he's the greatest of all time. But just because of that ginormous legacy, he has arm wrestled every person that is of merit on the planet.
Yeah, and beating them.
Yeah, and from Saplankov to the old school to Gary Goodridge, who everybody here will know. Everyone.
Yeah, incredible.
Interesting. When we had a magazine back in early noughties called Iron Grip, John Wilson did an interview for us with John Brzenk, and some of the questions were like, "What training did he do?" He did extremely little.
Really?
Weight.
Was he a freak? Obviously, he was a freak to be that good, but was he like? Was he?
No, because we chatted yesterday about genetic freaks, and we named 3 names out there: Oleg, Matej, and Doob.
Yeah,
who have ridiculous sized hands and brachioradialis that suddenly go up into their arm. No, he just was an arm wrestler. He learned technically incredible. You just watch some of those matches.
He's amazing,
and he's a guy that is relatively big-ish, 95 kilo, but not ginormous.
No.
And in reality, with his work shirt on and that, you would think, does a guy even,
compared to Dennis, who literally looks like the Hulk.
If the two of them were there, people would put their house on Dennis.
They would. So John wrestled Dennis and beat him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's a great.
You got to watch Pullin' John. Everyone's got to watch Pullin' John.
Because that particular one, he's
with
got
Vovolda, and Bajan, yeah. Anyway, tell me what it's like to go to.
So a world
championship.
So the worlds is different. So nowadays you've got your World Arm Wrestling League, which is your your big kind of like slightly looser format rules, but you're professional. Okay, there's always been professional arm wrestling. There's more the Russian, the PAL, and there's prior to that, there's always been professional Yukon Jack matches back in the 90s, etc., etc. But that amateur kind of big time Charlie, where everybody is, a first or second in the world, from their country, was the WAF, was the World Arm Wrestling Federation competition. So that's where you'll have like 1,000 arm wrestlers. That's where you're there for a whole week, and it's quite. That's fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah, so you arrive there and you meet people you know, and you meet people you don't know. And suddenly, ironically, you weigh in, if I remember rightly, you weigh in on a Monday, and then you're competing on the Thursday and Friday.
What? So you could really cut weight?
Oh, people were stripping it off. And
you could that's a long time to recover. Wow.
And you're standing in the pen. It's not called a bullpen, but you're just standing in the pen.
Yeah.
Because there's X amount of tables, pretty much like BJJ, there's X amount of tables, 8 tables going at the same time.
Sure.
So you may be on table 2, and you're suddenly looking at everyone there. There's Russia there, there's Kazakhstan there, there's everyone there. You think, everyone looks ginormous. They all look huge. And then it's all digital, so you've got the screen at the back, so you can see yourself. I've got some wonderful photos of Elizabeth. She's competing there, and the big screens at the back there. And the women are just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Same as we're talking about the women fighting. Awesome. Yeah, some awesome fights between women. They put everything out there.
Yeah.
Like, screaming and roaring.
Yeah. You see some of them.
But that's it. You're all of a sudden the draw, and that's it. Then you think, shit, first one, or that looks a bit easy, but they're all hard.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, you come out, you chalk, you shake hands, you put your ticket to the back of your neck, and the referee's extremely strict, and they want a fair match, and it's such a fast.
Yeah,
it's so fast. People,
so quick.
I don't think many people know how quick.
Yeah,
I think it's been said it's one of the quickest fighting sports.
Yeah, I think it might be one of the quickest sports.
Yeah, it's like a second. It can be, if you, poof, it's like bang, flies through. So you set up and off you go, and that's it. And then hopefully you win. I was very lucky enough to win X amount, and I think my best placing was 10th or 11th
in the world. In
my class in that world, which was the 100 kilo class.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was really pleased with that.
Yeah,
it's nice. When you do your first one, you just hope, because it is double elimination, so you will have 2 fights.
Sure.
It's slightly different to BJJ. So say somebody goes undefeated, they'll go through to the A final. Yeah. And if you lose, so you could lose against the same guy. Yeah. And you'll come through the B final again and meet him in the final. And so, when you first go there, you just want to win.
Yeah.
And then you're like, it's quite, that's why you do sport.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember you saying yesterday, I quite like you were chatting about sort of the gamesmanship with wearing people down by forcing them into long.
A little bit less on the WAF.
Yeah.
They are strict.
Yeah.
It's more when you go to some, not even lesser competitions, it's just
less strict competition.
It's just what is allowed, rule sets and things, before they do a referee's grip or something. It's just like, and I said the longest one I had, it must have been closer to 10 minutes. And it's like
10 minutes setting up, or really?
Yeah, I still got that one on video. It's painful to watch.
I think is that on YouTube?
It might be.
I might have seen it.
Yeah,
people were going off, and you're coming back, and
it was ages. I mean, there's a couple of other ones where it gets a bit fruity as well, where you got that talk. I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah.
I may seem like a jibber jabber, but I just want to just go. Let's
just want to go,
let's go. But no, there's movement and there's everybody. It's like. And maybe, I tell you what, because like I told you, I dipped in, and there was those periods I did a lot more arm wrestling, so 2 years here, 3 years there, pieces there. But certainly if I came back to it, and the more arm wrestling is obviously going to be the same as you. The more arm wrestling you do, the more the training, the more thing you get, more acclimatized to more and more endurance. Yeah. My best ever time is that match against Tommy Cocker, where you see that, I'm doing that, no chance. My endurance was off the charts there. It was the best it was ever. I think that's 2008, something like that.
Yeah.
But there's times I haven't been like that, and a long setup or a long match kills your endurance. You come off and you're like you're putting your arm up, trying to shake out the lactic, and you're trying.
You get ice on there, or
no? Best thing is to let the blood flow out.
Same sort of thing with jiu-jitsu. Your forearms get pumped up with that adrenaline dump. Stick your hands up in the air, wiggle the fingers.
Did they get so? I've gone to a final where now I can't close my hands.
Yeah, I had that Europeans once. I was holding butterfly for so long.
And you're in trouble, don't you?
You're screwed. Can't close your hands. You're in trouble. Yeah.
And I'm up against somebody who's had an easier route, and I'm like, oh God. And I just gripped up, and then he hit, and I catch, and it's horrific jingle. We call it. That's when it's jingle jangle pain. It's
yeah.
Broke the arm. Actually, the broke the arm thing is that. A little bit different to the Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy who comes. He's probably had other aches, but the first persons who do arm wrestling for a period of time, their friends are Dr. Ibuprofen and paracetamol.
But I guess it's such a specific position.
Some people,
you look at like Devin Larratt's arms, like I know.
Mine doesn't straighten.
Is that from arm wrestling?
That was from falling, but this one doesn't straighten either.
From arm wrestling, or because Devin's arms don't straighten either. I know that.
There is some bigger ones out there. Pascal Girard.
Yeah,
we were having an arm off.
Yeah,
it was Michael Todd, who you've probably heard of. Pascal Girard and myself, and we were like, look, see how crap our arms are. But Pascal won. And bearing in mind how
you're probably at like maybe 105 degrees. Yeah.
But painkillers is your friend for quite a while. And everybody gets attacked in certain different areas. So a lot of people get the elbows.
Yeah, I get on whenever I do mess around with it, my right arm, I get that pain on that medial epicondylitis, and left arm is fine.
I never. I get it in here.
Really?
Right in there. It's like, I've often wondered if it was like I'm just building up. I've got a huge big lump in that bone.
Yeah,
I can feel
building up scar tissue in there or something.
Maybe it's a bone. Every time I was just fracturing it,
sure,
it's just
maybe
thicken up.
Yeah.
But you do acclimatise to it, and then you don't have any, and it's
really?
Like insane. It's
You're
like,
invincible.
I'm not training hard enough.
So so let's get you know what, we got one because you got the hoodie on. We'll talk about that a little bit. Stone lifting.
No, stone lifting.
This is what I'm into at the moment.
It is.
I've got in this. Stone lifting was something that you know what, I might have seen stone lifting for the first time through you, actually.
Is it?
I think so, yeah. Because I found World of Grip many years ago and watched your YouTube videos, and I think I went online and I saw some of the articles that you had up there and the hoodie that you had up there lifting. Is that the Inver or?
No, that's the cricket.
Okay, yeah.
That's a lot bigger than the Inver.
I was going to say that looks a lot bigger than the Inver.
180.
That's the Welsh one.
Yeah,
that's huge.
180.
Okay. Fair enough.
1 or 86 kilo.
I won't be doing that anytime soon. But yeah, I saw it, and I can't remember whether it was before or just after I injured my back, and I thought, it's the one thing I'm never going to be able to do. I'm never going to be able to lift stones because my back is so fucked up. I had a real problem with my back probably for about 6-7 years now. And then in training for the Dinnies, you know what, I can thank you for sort of the recovery that my back's made in the last 2 or 3 years, which it has made a huge recovery, and allowed me to do stuff like start wrestling. Like the reason why I never wrestled is because my back would hurt. I couldn't hinge the hip in any way. I couldn't even hold the position, and it would really screw me up. The only thing I could do was roll.
Well, that position, I have a lot of fighters train that posterior chain position. Because you know that position of when you're in there is basically your back's at that.
Yep.
And it's at that for a period of time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's that held position. It was another reason why there was one time where I used to do a lot of conditioning. I was in good shape, believe it or not. And when I hurt my back, I couldn't.
I was in good shape.
No, but my cardio is bad. A lot of the time when I lose matches because either I get tired or I don't output high because I don't want to get tired. You know, so it holds me back. There's one thing that now my back's better, I really want to start doing again because I used to do a lot of conditioning.
But balancing your output is what most sportsmen do anyway.
I know, but I remember first time I ever started doing strength conditioning.
And unless your condition is so insane that you can go 100% for a long time.
When I first qualified for ADCC, I was doing a lot of conditioning work, no strength work, just conditioning work, and I just had the confidence that in the second half of the match I could turn it up. And my opponent wouldn't be able to handle that, and it meant that I was submitting a lot of people Whereas now I submit people early or don't, submitting people much later in the matches. But anyway, going back to you. So because I always like to buy the stuff that you make, and you made some Dinny handle replicas.
I still get asked all the time.
They're
down there.
Yeah. You made some Dinny handle replicas.
It's just it cost us so much to get them made.
Yeah.
That there was
not worth it. Yeah.
You know, because we had them made exact.
Yeah.
And they had to hand fashion.
Really?
So all the rings are hand rounded, so to speak.
But I bought that from you, and I started training that, and the bearing the weight without having the hip hinge the hip too much started to improve my back. And I was doing like the adjustable thick bar or the Horne top and other deadlift movements.
Yeah, you can basically keep your back pretty much.
And it started to strengthen my back to the point where, obviously last year I did the Dinny stones, and after I did the Dinny stones I thought, I think I can actually maybe start picking stones off the ground. So that's what I'm going to be doing in the next couple of weeks. So I'd love to talk to you about stone lifting a little bit. When did you first start getting into stone lifting?
Okay, I would guess it's going to be about 97, I think. But it's going to be within a year of that.
Yeah.
And I was probably on a little bit earlier because we had a barrel, one of the big barrels. We had it in the gym, so we had people doing their squats with barrels, bear hug squats. And
big wooden barrels?
No, a big metal one.
Oh, okay,
we had a couple
keg,
of them. We had different weights. We had a 140, 90, and I've only got the one left now. It's about 70.
Yeah.
So you bear hug them and then squat and then deadlift with them in front. So that was kind of like that odd object thing. And obviously stone lifting was in its infancy, but you suddenly get to know about the stones. I suddenly was able to get a big lump of concrete with a thing through.
I saw it. You just sold that the other day.
I gave it away.
Yeah, you gave it away.
I gave that. There was another one before that, but that one was outside there. I gave it to Ruben Hughes because he's an awesome stone lifter.
And I would not have. Unfortunately, sadly, would not have been able to take that because it's literally too heavy for me to lift.
It's 186
without any weight on it,
and then we add some
Jesus
weight.
Christ! But
So that was
Ruben's
it. So we we had this other one before that actually, which we was training on, and then the Dinnies. Back in that day, this is about 1970, 97. The book Iron Mind bring out a book by the Peter Martin Senior, and it's of Stones and Strength. So I devoured that very quickly. I mean, it's not, nowadays there's so much information.
Yeah.
And what Peter Martin Jr., rest in peace, did was he brought an insane amount, and then you Martin as well.
Yeah.
So the knowledge on the stones now is ginormous.
Yeah.
The whereabouts,
awesome
what ones they are, who's lifted what, etc. But back then, that was the first real. Without a couple of pieces of mention by David Webster in various magazines, that was suddenly your Bible. So we started training on it with a plan to go up in 1998. Me, myself, Nick McKinless, Mike Thompson, who was writing for Hard Gain at that time, meeting my friend up there, David Vass, up in Aberdeen, and Lee Morrison of Urban Combatives. And we all went up.
To do the tour?
Yeah, to do the tour. But the touring then included the Old Stones of Daly, which are two big blue stones, which are now shackled. So we were very lucky to be able to lift those. I lifted both of those.
Why were they shackled?
I have no idea.
They just didn't want. They didn't want people lifting them.
It is in a church. It's in a an old churchyard that's just rubble.
Yeah.
But we treated them with totally respect.
Yeah. It's strange. I can't imagine there were hundreds of people.
And those blue stones are like that blue stone outside. They're just like
smooth as glass. Yeah.
But that was in Perth. No, it's not Perth. I'm sorry, Ayrshire.
I'm going there as well. So annoying.
Yeah. And then we went to see David Webster.
Yeah.
I think it was that night or the next night, which was wonderful. Just chatting to him all evening.
Is he up in Scotland?
Yeah, he's in Irvine. Is it Irvine or Girvan? Is it one of those? I think it's Irvine, which is beside the seaside. He has a house there, and as I said, he's got all those barbells outside.
I might have to drop him pay him a visit. I might have to contact.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, the man must be 90.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible collection of stuff. There was Vansittart steel bar bent there. There was he got from the bank vault. He'd brought Pullum's medals, gold medals for us to view. You think mine mine is one room, but he had many rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like one book after another book,
Yeah.
and you got these books, and then we bought some stuff off him, which I still got.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky to have a lot of books he signed for me as
Wow.
well, which was really kind words he put about me. And so that was a genius moment. And then we went up, and David Webster went up as well, and it was for the Dinnies. And we trained on rings.
Yes.
And I know that's the way to train. We didn't get them. We just got rings to the height of what we didn't actually know. But I was the first person, I think, to take all the measurements.
Yeah.
So I took all the measurements from the height to the top of the ring, the rings, dimensions, everything. And you see it in the Grippopedia. It was actually prior to that, the David Horne's Iron Grip course was in there. And so we have the rings, and you start training on them. And that's why I always tell people to train on them outside.
Yes.
And train on chalk, train on the train that it's hardish. Because when we arrived, it was pouring down. And you could put the towels over, and I was the first person to lift it, and I lifted them. And we lifted them 3 times. Nick lifted them. Then I lifted the big stone with 20 reps, and then I lifted the small one. But your chalk was kind of not
Not
really
doing
working.
much, yeah.
And then we went to the Inver Stone after that, which is just down the road, and then I had to clear the snow off that. So this is why I tell people, train outside with these things.
Yeah, that's where they're going to be.
Well, nowadays they have the gathering, and they have it outside, and it's in summer.
Yeah.
My two, no, I lifted them 3 times, three visits are all kind of in wetter times.
Yeah.
I even heard that, it even absorbs water.
Yeah.
So
I believe some of those porous rocks, I think, would definitely be heavier.
It's heavier in the winter and lighter in the
summer. So I did my Dinnies. The weather was great. I did it in August last year.
It's weighing about 100 kilo.
Yeah. And I did the Inver, and I'm going back up.
I lifted it was about 300 kilo.
Well, I'm going back up next week, so I'll go see if I still got it.
Yeah, you'll be like, shit, he's right.
I'm hoping I'm not doing the Dinnies again, but going to do the natural stones, because of course the Dinnie isn't a true manhood stone because of the ring handles.
Hook?
But I didn't use hook.
Good man.
Which made it significantly harder. I realised on the day.
I didn't use hook.
Yeah.
Not for the reps, not for the fingers.
Really?
No, I used nothing. Just grabbed them.
It was very difficult, but
I wish, that world record they've got now for the time told, man, and me and my best times.
Yeah, really.
1990s David.
Yeah. It's
but it wasn't there. There was
Mark
nothing.
Haydock, right?
That's it. Sorry, when we... I think Mark still owns it.
Yeah.
Mark's been here.
So it's like a full... Yeah, I met him here at a tournament.
He's a nice guy, really nice guy.
Yeah.
But back in that 90s, there's one book, and there's... Actually, at the Potarch Inn... I think there's just one picture of Donald Dinnie. There's no book.
Yeah.
All that stuff's later.
Yes.
There's nothing. The 2 stones are at the front like as an inconvenience.
When you lift it, really?
Gordon Dinnie arrives, who's, obviously he's no longer with us anymore, and David Webster. And so it's just photographs and we're doing it. And then David Webster writes the article, I think it's a 4 or 5 page article for Milo, and that's 1998, and it's called Lads Go A-Lifting. And then he's also comes down to, which most people don't know, there's another stone in England.
Yeah.
Old Seaton Delaval or Old Hartley. It's one of those 2 places. They're based both beside it. I think it's the Blue Stone of Old Hartley.
How much do they weigh?
No one's weighed this thing.
Yeah.
So this is about 99, and I wanted to demolish all the stones. And so there's this stone, and it is a blue stone. And so with a friend up there, a couple of friends up there, Graham Noble, who writes about jiu-jitsu and all sorts of the early arts, and a few other people, we've got this contact going with the council because they've got it inside cement. There's plinth in front of the pub.
Wow.
What's the pub called? It doesn't really matter, but it's near the seaside.
Yeah.
Seaton Delaval. It's all to do with Willie Carr.
Yeah.
Who's over there, right in the left-hand corner, bending steel.
Yeah.
If you actually, and it's near Blyth, a place called Blyth, just north of Newcastle. And if you ever go to their shopping centre, it is Blyth, and it's an old kind of like place that
I'm going to Newcastle. I might have to.
Blyth, yeah. Go to the shopping centre.
I might have to try and
in
find
the middle of
the
the
stone.
shopping centre is that statue of Willie Carr bending
Really?
the bar. Yeah, it's huge.
Okay.
Now, I did hear that they've moved it just to the side.
Yeah.
So when you go into that shopping centre, I can give you all the details.
Yeah.
If it's not in the middle where the seating area is, do skirt around to find it. It's a big bronze sculpture.
Okay, awesome. And the stone's near there?
Well, there's this fable, he's lifted it and whatever and that. But the stone is a few more miles away.
Sure.
I can give you every detail because I did a huge amount of writing about Willie Carr. And so there's this stone, and when I arrived, and I went up there with Jason, my oldest son, and I looked at it, and they chipped it out, and it's like BBC's there, and David Webster's there, and everyone's there, and my back's strong at this moment, but I thought, this looks fucking huge.
Okay, maybe I won't go there.
This is ginormous.
Yeah.
I had to believe it must have been, it's 220.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely not going there.
So, okay. I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe someone at Hathor can throw it around, or Mateus.
Did you attempt it? Or?
Oh, yeah. It was a fucking BBC. It's so funny. They've chipped it out of the cement. The council.
So I can't imagine you budged it, or?
Oh, yeah.
You lifted it up?
Yeah, I got it.
Get out.
No, I got it. But when
knees or
no,
just off the ground?
Yeah, just
220.
1 inch shimmy. So initially and it's not round.
Yeah.
And you had, if I remember rightly, you had one handhold that was a bit better on one side, and one that was dreadful.
Yeah.
So I do the first pull, it rocks up like that, and I've got to move the next time I do a second pull. Each time I'm tightening my belt in tighter and tighter, my back is blowing. Eventually, they're it's so close, and then there's a BBC there, and then this last one. I knew it was my last one, because like my back is going to snap.
Yeah.
It's so big. You are like in lower than wrestling stance.
Yeah.
And I get this hug, and I'm right back here. The whole of the skin's gone now. It's blood, and I just lift it. Yes, and that was it. Half an inch. And I'm cavorted as a hero into the pub, beers, interview, which I still got it on.
Oh, awesome!
I taped it in my car.
Do you have this on video, or?
I've got photos.
Okay.
And I've got
love to see it,
I've got the BBC recording on a tape.
Yeah.
Because I'd heard we were in the car, and I said, "Oh shit, that's going to talk about me."
Yeah.
And that was it. We taped it.
Amazing.
And that was, and that was the hardest ever stone I lifted.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Horrific.
Crazy. Do you know of anyone else who's lifted that?
No, because they cemented it back in.
Really? So, wow. Okay.
I'm quite pleased with that. Keep that cemented.
I'll tell everyone it's 220.
I just got to be... Because you see that little one out there.
Yeah.
That's 70 kilo.
Get out.
I wish I got that one off Blythe, because I wanted a memento. So we went down to the beach, and there must be
you got that from?
Yeah, it was on a beach at Blythe. So I carried it up and I took it into my car. And
that's 70 kilos.
Yeah, that's only.
They're dense, very dense.
Yeah, you see the size of it.
Wow,
it was huge.
I might have to go.
I've got a photo. I'm going to have to send you the photo of me for sitting beside it, and you'll go, man, that's big.
So you did all the Scottish stones. You did this huge English stone.
Yeah, and then there's a period off stones, really. I play around. But I heard of Roger Davis went touring around. He was friends with Peter Martin. Roger Davis, an all-round lifter from South, he started to get an interest in other stones that were in England and Wales, especially in Wales. So they started to put together a list, and I think there's about 8. And I thought, I'm really interested in this. So I contacted, and this was before the Cricket Stone lifting contest. They just had it there.
Yeah.
So I contacted everybody, and I went up there, me and Nick McKinless, and it was just that day, and it was another rainy day, and you had to have a towel over, and we lifted it. And once again, just in case anybody doesn't know, all these stones are lifted without tacky.
Yeah. It's sacrilegious.
It's sacrilegious.
You can use chalk, but if you put tacky on
you'd be booted off the side.
Yeah.
And then there was another one which I totally can't pronounce. It's a Welsh stone, but I think you see the video of me carrying it.
Yes,
that was awesome. It's on this man's farm. I can't remember the name. Sorry, but it's on this man's farm, and we arrived there, and Ruben was there as well. It was the first time. I think that's the first time I meet Ruben.
Yeah.
Actually, he might have been at that one as well. So that is the time I first meet Ruben, and I say to him, I think you could do very well at grip.
Yeah.
Bear in mind,
insanely strong guy.
Yeah, he was never doing training.
He was is he a brickie or
he's number one steel shredder guy on the planet.
But he was just a manual.
Well, he still is. That's what he jobs. You see some. Are you friends with him? Just have a look at some of the walls he builds. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But unbelievably strong.
Yeah, that's it. He's doing 8 hours a day building walls.
Yeah, wow.
And you're doesn't need to train. Move that. He mixed cement for 5 minutes. It's getting a bit of a pump on there. We met him. I mean, we got to this farmhouse, and it was a real farmhouse with loads of sheep everywhere. And we go into this, and he makes us a cup of tea, this farmer. We'll take you down there. Hop into the Land Rover. And man, he's driving up and down this grass hills, and it's like this. And so a quarter of a mile to the stones just in the grass. And okay, let's go. So we all take a chance lifting it, and then I do a lift and a walk with it.
Wow.
And, it was really cool.
Awesome.
It's just a bit like what you said about, you're on the planet once.
Yeah.
That's a great time. It's a great occasion. It's a great thing. It makes you feel alive.
Yeah, it does.
And what you done? You lifted a stone.
Yeah.
You haven't cured cancer. You haven't done anything, but you've got to do some things while you're on the planet.
100%. Yeah.
And so, it was me.
And it's a thing, no one can take that away from you. You've done it. You've lifted it. You've got the photos or the book or whatever, or, the BBC.
I mean, apart from the Dinnies, I haven't really gone back to, cricket. Yeah, I've done that a couple of times just because I now run the grip competition at the cricket. Yeah. So they have the stone lifting, but we run a grip competition as well, and lots of all the juniors, they love it. The kids who are watching the dads doing the stones, they all participate, and then of course lots of the strongmen all participate. With Mark Gian's being, the kingpin now.
Sure.
Right now.
And what? Just out of interest for me, I guess, what accessory stuff do you recommend for working the stone lifting? Obviously, nothing can beat playing around with stones, but what sort of exercises do you think cross over best to improving on your stone lifting?
Well, obviously for Dinnies, it's Dinny rings.
Yeah. I mean for the natural lifting.
Any kind of stone. Do bear hug deadlifts.
Bear hug deadlifts.
Yeah, we developed those in the 1990s. So,
like your device that you gave to Ruben,
but we just, in fact, there's one out there.
Yeah,
beside it, there's a load of plates with a rod through and collars. That's it.
Yeah.
So you make sure it's nice and tight, so you don't nip your skin.
Yeah.
Even if you can put sellotape around the middle part or whatever, and then do bear hug
with the plates.
Yeah. So your bear hug and the plates. Sure. You'll see a few videos. There's a few people who have done the similar thing since and put videos up. So you can use rubber plates, metal plates. Yeah. Doesn't really matter, but it gets you used to a thing. And also the way you have to lift, because you have to lift these kind of stones with basically your fingers on the floor. So none of this health and safety. Don't lift.
Don't round your
25
back.
kilo.
Yeah.
You can't lift a 180 kilo stone by being like that.
Yeah. Well, you can't get in position.
No,
it's impossible.
In fact, if you even try doing
you
that
hurt yourself.
position, you are going to fuck yourself up.
Yeah.
So you've got to clearly lift it in the position. So that's why you have to have a back of iron. Any times I've ever done it to the high degree of what I've done, my back has been like a cart horse.
Yeah, and I've been doing I spent a long time working sandbags. And doing lots of sandbag squats and pickups with the sandbags.
Well, that Carolyn you did last night to Matt as he flew through the sky.
well, that's what I was going to say was I feel like stone lifting has a really good... Now, it's not... Unlike a lot of the other stuff we're going to talk about, I know we're going to get to some of the exercises you recommend for grapplers and the steel bending and snapping, stuff that I think that you can do quite safely. I think with stone lifting, you have to be very careful.
I think clearly you've got to have an A-OK from a doctor.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, I'm not like,
strength,
but if you've got a little dodgy back, go and get it sorted first before you come and it's pretty obvious. Look, I've got a bit of wood timber here. It's a bit shaky. I'm going to put a load of weight on it. Oh, guess what? The wood timber's broken. Yeah. No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah. but I do feel like stone lifting has a really good carryover. I think with that sort of the lower back work, the hip drive, if you're trying to get it to the chest, the bear hugging position with the upper body. What do you think?
Oh, for stone lifting, or I mean for grappling?
Stone lifting for grappling.
Yeah. Look, that position of lifting, what you see from Carolyn. That is.
You wonder how big a stone he could lift, right?
Superhuman strength to do what he's been able to do. I saw you last night. I think that's about the first time I've seen you actually live.
Maybe, yeah.
Rolling, power. Look, all the things that are going to help you you might as well say this, every sport, you have to develop the techniques for the sport.
Yep.
So that's a given. How do I get better at rock climbing? Rock climb.
Yep.
How do I get better at 100 meters? Do the 100 meters.
Yeah.
But what you do is, like, you have an athlete's body. So we've got 20 athletes here. They're all different. So there will be the naturally, he looks more muscled.
Yeah.
He's more strong already than this other guy who is not.
Yeah.
And this guy's taller. And that. So how do we make them all that they're even better athletes? So that the word of getting a better athlete rather than a better runner or a better rock climber. So if I put a better athlete in, and that's how. So a stronger athlete. A more flexible athlete, a faster athlete, a more agile athlete. So this is the extra 5 to 10% that makes you suddenly, like, from great because you're technically at the level to being far greater.
Yeah.
Because just for instance, say you're doing everything technically perfect and whatever, but you're being overpowered. That can easily happen because I could show you the exact perfect technical aspect on arm wrestling, but still overpower you.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
Yeah.
The difference is I'm more powerful than you. It's not that you've got a bad technique.
So if I can equal your power,
if you can go above my power,
technique will
the same technique. If we have both exactly the same technique, okay, we can change styles and things. But let's just put two same techniques. The powerful one, or the one with more endurance, or the more agile one will win. So these are the finer things that make the athlete a winner.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on from stone lifting. And I want to talk about when you started getting into building grip equipment. So that's one of the big things that you do. You run is it grip? What's the store called?
World of Grip.
World of Grip, that's right.
World of Grip.
David Horne's World of Grip, and you sell all of this equipment, and I have the majority of it, and leaving here today with some more. What first got you into creating, and obviously for those who are watching, you can kind of see it. For those who aren't watching, but you've got on the wall all crazy looking things. Whether it's this one is a anvil trainer. One is a mimic a half a penny. The gold bar. We'll talk about the gold bar because I love the story about the gold bar. But what got you first into building equipment?
Well, I mean, it's always building equipment's always been around. There's a gripper over there, 1895. I remember that's the first. Oh, that one, no, the wooden handle.
Yeah.
So equipment's always been built.
Yeah. But what got you into building it?
Building. It was the sport in 2004. Grip competitions up to that were fine. They were a contest thing.
But I guess they were using barbells, dumbbells.
Look, somebody was using for instance, 2-hand pinch lifts. So somebody would maybe use 2 Yorks or 2 something else. Yeah.
Stuff that was available.
As we clearly know, that's why we have the adjustable pinch lift. Different widths make such a difference.
Yes.
So somebody would be very much at home at that 2.5 inch width, but have a problem at 2 inch, or vice versa. So we kind of realized that to have a standardization of like an event, so what is termed the Euro pinch, it was actually me and Mikael Silverson. I sent him all the I drew it all up and I sent him the details via internet and everything. And he's from Sweden, and we came up with the rubber discs in between 2 plates, so you could make it as thick or as thin as you want. And that still stands now. Yeah. There is other pinch lift apparatus out there, but for a contest lift, then you pick the width you want. Yeah. There is no, that's too wide, too thin. You pick whatever the width you want and you do it. Yeah. It's the fairest one. So that was the beginning? That's basically the beginning. Yeah. And so I just built that equipment so we so you could worldwide compete. Worldwide we had a piece of equipment. So that is the first world record. Yeah. There is no other pieces of equipment. I know Ironman's got the thing, but they haven't even got a world records list by then. Yeah. It is their world records list is pretty much new. I think they might just have had the Rolling Thunder there. Yeah, I think they've got the Rolling Thunder, but nothing else. None of the other ones. So the only sort of grip world records outside of all round lifting was the Europinch and the Ironman Rolling Thunder. Yeah. So the Europinch became the flavour of the day, and it rose. It's changed hands, the overall world record, about 10 times. Wow. Of which I think I've had it about 6.
So you'd have it, someone would take it, you get it back, someone take it, you get it back.
Well, the names have gone, let's see who has. Jed's held it once or twice.
Yep.
So it might have been 12 times it's changed. Cody Burns holds it now.
Yeah.
I was the last one before Cody. Jed might have been the one before that. Lawrence Charlot's held it.
Oh, nice.
And that might be it. Steve Gardner might have held it once as well. And that's about it. So,
yeah.
So it's a small group.
Small handful.
So that was. So then it went a couple more years because my business then wasn't making strength equipment. Sure. My business was antiques and collectibles.
Ah, really?
And then so in about 2007, I think 2007, 2006, I wanted to have a little bit of a go at grippers again.
Yeah.
I didn't want to buy more and more grippers.
Yeah.
So that cardboard cutout, there's one over there in the shape of a Vulcan.
Yeah, the original design.
Yeah, Elizabeth went shopping one day, and I had a Kellogg's cornflakes box, and I this and that one like that, and I cut out 2 pieces and then put a thing through in the pivot, and that was it.
Wow.
Same design.
Yeah.
Made the Vulcan gripper, of which we've sold thousands.
Wow.
Thousands and thousands. And then once again, we go through a little bit of time. IGC is up and running, and we kind of like look at there's a lot more competitions, and people want to buy the equipment to train on, if you get my drift, so that they can train on at home, so when they come they're fully up and running. So we start to develop some equipment outside of that. So prior to that, the Vulcan and the wrist developer had now been developed as well. That was the next thing. Yeah. But we then
it's the grip top. Yeah.
We wanted a stationary pin and things to go, not all flopping around. Sure. And that's why we went. Kimo Koko of Finland, he had similar things. He starts in about 99, and he had similar things. He has a touring, like, it's the wrong word, but touring circus. He takes it to markets and fairs. Nice. If I ever go to Finland, I've got to see Kimo and a few of the guys. And so it was kind of based on a pin that's there. You put the weight on, and hey ho, we started developing. But they all have a sort of historical thing. Obviously,
so even if we just go
like
there,
Franz Fottinger's needle pinch lift.
So he nailed a needle into a wooden block
of wood,
and then attached the block to some
you
weight.
Do a key grip with it and lifted it. That's about in 1887. Franz Fottinger in
and then you've got the halfpenny.
The halfpenny is obviously Charles Van Sittart, and later on
used to attach weights to pennies and lift it up.
That's it. He soldered an old English penny to a 56-pound block of weight. Yeah. So we made it slightly harder and put half of it. It's a bit. It looks like you got an old penny stuck in a fruit machine.
Yeah, exactly. That is. So I imagine that you never get pennies stuck in fruit machines. You can pull them straight out. Top one is the Horne top, which is the horn of an anvil.
Yeah, that's it. It's,
this fourth one down is and
the gold bar.
So the shallow hub is the hub lifting. For those who don't know, would be lifting the inside of especially it was the old deep dish Yorks.
Not the rubbers you get now.
No.
Most people's gyms now, they don't know about.
They don't.
But the old plates.
So when you see a deep dish plate, you get super excited about.
It has a like a hub in the middle with
rim,
with spindles coming off, you know, and.
So this gold bar, because I don't think the first time I came here, you hadn't released the gold bar. And I said, "What's that?" And you told me the story, and I said, "You got to release that." And then you released that.
Yeah, the gold bar is oh man, it's like one of the early World Cups when it was hosted in England. What's that? 90? I don't know.
Yeah,
might even have been 80 now.
Yeah,
no idea, but quite a long time back. And I watched it on the telly, and then I must have been in South Africa because that's where the gold bar. It's the one in South Africa. And so they were talking about this gold bar that was in one of the mines, etc. But not in the mine, in the office
factory,
that was there. And if you could lift it, you could take it home.
Yeah, because for those who don't know, gold is incredibly dense. Very, very heavy, and it's incredibly slippery, very smooth.
I think they said the weight was around, I'd have to look at my stats, but 12 and a half, 14 kilo or something.
Yeah.
And you had to lift it with 2 fingers. Okay. And of course it's slidey. I kind of understood they didn't want to give away.
That'd be worth probably about 200 grand
worth of gold. But I contacted ITV and I didn't get any further. Okay, well, that's fair. Anyway, time jumps forward a bit more. And with the internet, I found the place, and it's now like an amusement arc. No, it's like a Drayton Manor kind of thing, but it's part of their mine. So you do a mine
tour,
tour. Yeah, they've got some rides and other shit. And here they have their gold bar. You can see it on YouTube. And then they allow some old duffer and some old granny to come out and clearly don't lift it. And so I got a phone, I got an address as an email. So clearly I contacted them. Hello, my name is David Horne. I'm a grip specialist.
Oh, so you already screwed up. You should have screwed up.
Well, I did. Look, I wanted it to be official. I didn't want to pay, I don't know what it is to fly to South Africa for them to for it to be a no-go. So I didn't mind the fanfare.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be that I'm actually arriving and we are going ahead with this gold bar. And also that I can actually take it if I do lift it.
Yeah.
Anyway, once again, I didn't get a lot back. As soon as they saw grip specialist, I'm sure they.
So you basically you built that device to train for it.
Yeah. So it's
what's your record on that with 2 fingers? Or?
Oh, I have done 2 fingers, but I can't remember. Yeah. But it's usually I should have put it as a 2-finger lift.
Yeah.
But I ended up people liked it, and I just put it as a normal pinch lift.
Yeah.
Eddie Hall's the best I've seen on this.
Really?
He really is. He has a perfect hand for it.
He did like 50 or something.
40.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah.
He's lifted 40 in here like it was.
Really?
Yeah, like he had his sandwich in his eye. Man was always eating when he was training.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's how you stay 200 kilos.
I've never seen anything. I'd go to the strength asylum at Stoke to train him, and so this was his second workout in a day, and it was all grip, and I'm beasting him and Luke Fulbrook, his training mate, and he's glug eating moon top, glug pinch lift, wrist training, etc.
Yeah.
So that's where we got equipment, and we try to keep bringing innovative and interesting tools. It's pointless.
That's why I love it. You're always bringing out new stuff.
I'm not interested in just copying someone else's stuff. No interest whatsoever. I'm 58 this year. It means not. I could shut the shop now. I don't. I do it only. We do all the records. We do the website. Everything is only because I like it.
Yeah.
If I didn't want to, I'd go back and sell and buy antiques and collectibles.
Sure, yeah.
It's a lot easier.
But that's it. You got a passion for it. You enjoy it. So, yeah.
And antiques and collectibles are really fruitful.
Yeah, really.
Don't I ever tell you this?
No,
Houdini story.
No.
Yeah, this one people might like this one.
Yeah, go on.
Just that you can make money. Okay, so we just started our antiques and collectibles. So it's about 2004.
So you had a shop selling?
No. Did it all online.
Yeah, but like an online shop, yeah.
But you got to go. I love the going out early.
Yeah.
Car boots.
Yeah.
Antique fairs, shops, just searching and finding things. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's like you don't know what's going to happen today.
Yeah. No, I love going to antiques.
But it was quite a big thing to suddenly go from a paid wage to nothing. I was like, wow, I'm earning nothing now.
Yeah.
So within about, I think this is the first or second week, I go to an antique fair at Stafford. It's an antique fair. You can't make money. Surely you can't.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm having a little look, and I just picked this little pamphlet up. It's like a theatre pamphlet, just so it's understandable, of Houdini in London.
Yeah.
And I says, how much for this piece of ephemera? That's what they just have, a pile of ephemera, paper and stuff. He says, £2, mate. Oh, it's all right. I'm not going to knock him down.
Yeah.
And so I kind of felt, there's money in this. I had an idea. There's
Houdini, right?
There's 50 to 100 on this. There's got to be. So I get back and I quickly realise it's one of his early appearances is in London. So okay, we do a little bit more, take some nice photos, and I pop it on eBay. Within about an hour, I've got my first. Will you take $1,400 for it? No, I don't think I will. But thank you very much.
So what did it go for in the end?
Same guy bought it for £1,600.
Wow. That is crazy.
So
that is a win.
Got unclosed, and he was a big time collector. He told me all about
stuff.
it. Yeah. He was in a nomad. Man, I was glad when that one arrived. And it was insured. It was
that is incredible.
So, but that was an antique dealer.
Yeah.
Sold it for
Just
£2.
didn't know it
and
was,
I made £1,598 on it.
That's pretty good.
It is.
That is really good.
And you think, even with nowadays, because as I said, I used to shop around all in the 90s, and they were awesome times because nobody's got a phone on hand.
they could
What's this
check.
name?
Yeah.
Fabergé.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could basically say, what's this old egg? I'll have that offer. Yeah, here you go. But nowadays, people can be a little bit more cute, but you can still find stuff.
Yeah.
You can still find stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, we'll start. We've kind of got onto grip. We'll start talking about grip. I don't know where I had a piece of paper where I wrote everything down, but I remember it anyway. But some of the questions people are asking, most people asking the same sort of question or variations on the same question, which is your either number one bit of equipment, top 3 bits of equipment, top 5 bits of equipment. So let's go. If you had to sort of go with these the sort of questions that I usually get asked on a podcast, which is if I could have one bit of equipment. So if you could have one bit of equipment to train with and one bit only for the rest of your life, and I'm not grip equipment, not barbell or something like that, what would you go for?
Well, the areas that are going to be best worked are the sort of normal areas. So we've got X amount of them. So we've got pinch, we've got supporting, we've got wrist, we've got endurance, and we've got sort of small objects and stuff, and you've got crushing. Then you have to sort of really weigh in where it's going to fit of useful views. Because that question is like, can you develop my grip? But it's not just, it's like, are you weak in the wrist? Because if you're weak in the wrist, your grip will always come out. It will be peeled back because your wrist is weak. Yeah. But if I was going to I've got one piece of equipment, it used to always be, I love the pinch lift.
Yeah, you do.
Pinch lift.
Yeah.
But, now I'm an older man, and this last 2 years, I would probably maybe go always steel snapping.
Yeah. We're going to talk about steel snapping in a little bit.
It's the health benefits.
Do you know what? Let's do it now, actually. Talk about steel snapping. So, obviously, steel bending, if anyone follows me, it's something that I've done in the past. But this is something that I've done, bought a lot of steel from you. You have the steel shredder competition, which is sometimes long bars, sometimes medium, sometimes small bars, sometimes nail, very small nail snapping. But especially the steel snapping. So this is taking, and it could be 6 inches, 10 inches, 12, whatever. To up to
big pieces of 16 mil up there, snap.
Up to massive bars.
Snap there.
Bending it back and forth over and over again. You sort of break down the molecular structure of the metal, and eventually it becomes so weak that you can snap it.
Well, that's it. All steel has a different flavor. I mean, actually, for you guys, this is probably as relevant as anything I've said today.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fighters here I coach, and everyone leaves with some steel snapping.
Yeah.
It's so beneficial. The weights are funny. They're not like a live animal that you're going to fight and win against. And you guys fight against someone all the time. Yeah. The steel is like that. So it can be like stainless. It can be something like soft steel. So your soft steels like S275 and your hot rolled steel, easy to bend. But it can take a long time to snap. Your harder steels like your cold rolled steel, EN3B and that stuff, it's a harder bend, but it'll go a little bit more quicker.
Yeah.
It's not brittle, but it will go quicker. The rebar, that's that ridgy stuff that you see in buildings, that's terrifically strong and very springy, but a lot more brittle. So once you have...
Really,
and your stainless is terrifically hard to bend, terrifically hard all the way through, and terrifically hard at the end.
So stainless is the hard one.
Yeah, it's horrific. But I wouldn't have any beginner on stainless. So the other stuff. So realistically, what you do is you evaluate, because you can put them in circuits. You can put them in doing the lion on the floor, putting them yourself in a posterior chain. You can do anything.
So yesterday we did a normal snap of a 6-inch bolt, and then we did snapping in a neck bridge. So feet on the floor, head on the floor, and trying to snap it there. And then we did at the end. You did one bend, I did two bends, and then squat
down to a 4-inch block, all the way back to a sit up, sit back up, squat back up, and then
bend
move
again.
In and out. Yeah, and these were grade 8 bolts. Which for anybody who knows, they're incredibly strong.
Yeah,
they're like about the equivalent of 2 and a bit 6-inch nails.
Yeah,
taped together.
But it's something that it works. You're sweating, you're breathing. your muscles are aching, your grip's gone.
Yeah, if you've got a hard piece of steel, it's like immediately like it's a hard fight straight away. It's like, wow, this guy is strong. I'm in trouble. But okay, you can go a bit brittle, and then all of a sudden it's like that. You're 3 minutes into your fight, and now it's like this. Your opponent has lost all his strength.
Yeah,
and now you finish him off with whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Your S275, your soft steel, is like he looks a bit of a softy. I'm looking over there. He looks a bit out of shape, and you think, oh, this is the guy. I'll probably get him out of this fight in 30 seconds.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, it's like hard work.
I remember
and you win by an advantage.
The first steel shredder I did, I think it was the medium bar bending, and yeah, you get it go, and it was obviously a soft steel. Get it going, you're thinking, oh, this is moving easily. 20 minutes later, drenched with sweat.
I've had a few fighters here, and they're looking at it, and they're like, when's this thing? You just got the skin starts.
Yeah,
everything starts going.
Even on my hands yesterday, I started to look today like, oh, I'm starting to get some blisters coming up.
Fry. The body's starting to fry. The sweat's pouring off them.
Yeah.
It. Apart from the health benefits, the physical health benefits of doing this thing, it probably takes your heart rate 130, 140. It depends how hard the steel is. So if it's a very hard one, it's like you're doing a big deadlift. So if you're doing something in that area of ease, you probably are going to do 10, 15. I count anything under 20 minutes is quick. I know.
What was your longest bend you told me yesterday?
I've done a 90-minute one.
90-minute bending, constantly back and forth on the steel.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's wonderful training.
Insane.
Absolutely. Feel as fit as for my age. I feel absolutely wonderful with the steel snapping.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can do all sorts of workouts you want. So depending on the athlete I have in front of me, or the person, because we sell steel all around the world, or the person who contacted me, we've had them this morning, I try to sort of work out where they are, and it can be like, I've never done it before, right? And then I just give them some easy stuff, and then they're giving me the info back, and then we can move from there. So, I will get people, just show the techniques, and we can just get them to snap something.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, I've just snapped this nail.
Yeah.
Of course, the nail is so far down.
Yeah, the nail's pretty much the
it's basically like you've just
lightest.
climbed a hill.
Yeah.
But there's Mount Everest later.
Yeah. And you've never kind of gone anywhere other than flat ground.
You've been on sea level all your life.
Yeah.
And so, but you're excited about climbing this hill.
Yeah.
But there's so many bigger hills ahead, and so many fun and different ways you'll be climbing hills with backpack on you and all sorts of things. And you will love it. You'll become fit. You'll become strong, resolute, mentally strong. Knowing where you are with discomfort.
Yeah, that's it, because it is difficult, and I've had times when I've been bending still where you think, I might as well give up. This isn't going to go. You keep on pushing through, and eventually you start to see these cracks. And we were saying yesterday, you'll see these tiny lines on the inside of the steel.
You've got to dig in.
And
that's your opponent. You've just seen, like, he's looking over there and he's looking worse away. If you're in rounds, for instance, you're in rounds. I know you guys don't do rounds, do you?
Very rarely, but occasionally.
But if it was like round 8, and you're like, oh no. And your coach would be saying, he's going. Yeah. And that's it. Now
and you get that burst of energy.
Yeah, now you know.
You're doing something to him.
Got it. He's been leathering me for 8 rounds, but now it's my round.
So that would be your number one exercise. That would be your
That'd be like the Nate Diaz, isn't it?
Yeah.
Except no, it'd be the other one. Nate Diaz would be stainless, wouldn't he?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, no, Nate Diaz would be the soft. It's like, I'm doing well, but now he's never stopping.
Yeah. I like that you can compare different people to different types of steel.
You can. There's bound to be an opponent out there who is like really hard to start but evaporates really quickly, like mist.
Yeah, definitely. And then you can have the other, the grinders.
As long as you last a minute and a half with him, he's now nothing.
Yeah. That's funny. So that would be your number one bit of equipment.
I think so.
That's really fascinating, actually. Yeah, and it's something that
I am an older man now talking about.
Yeah, but would you recommend that for, like, I after training yesterday? And I know I bought steel from you in the past, and it's something that I actually haven't even thought about for a while. I think when I get back home after this tour, I'm going to start the end of every workout.
Just chat to me, and I'll give you a new each week. And give me a new bit of fun thing to think of.
Yeah.
Because that's with training. Look, at the end of the day, if you train 5 days a week, for 52 weeks, for 50 years.
Yeah.
It's a lot of training sessions.
Yeah.
I can't understand, and I do know of people who have now done the same workout
for years,
year in, year out, the same bench press workout, the same. And it's like, I don't know. It sounds a bit boring.
Yeah, for sure. But I try and keep it interesting. But even the stuff we were doing yesterday, we're doing some really cool, crazy stuff.
That was a good workout.
So we had a great workout yesterday. Okay, so still, let's go. Still bending. What other pieces of equipment? One or two that you see as very, very important piece of equipment
for grapplers.
Go on. I think most people would be listening. Grapplers, go on. Why not?
Wrist.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about this, because I talk about wrist training all the time. I think it's a position that I'm stronger on, opposed to sort of my pinch is definitely my worst and something that I need to work on. Finger strength isn't huge. Hand strength is okay, but I feel much stronger in this sort of hooking position. I actually take a lot of inspiration from arm wrestlers training.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of hooking positions and wrist curls and stuff like that.
So if you haven't got lock and load like we
yeah.
had yesterday for that lock part, because that's even a separate thing as well. So you got wrist and you got a lock. You want to keep this like that.
Yeah, that's an arm into the body.
So if you haven't got any of the equipment like that, you can just get a pulley that's in the machine.
Yeah.
And if you haven't even got that, you can attach one of the tubes to something.
Yeah.
Make sure it doesn't move. Yeah. Just get a handle. You don't even need that. You could just hold it and then just do that.
Yeah. Just isometrically holding this tight position. Yeah.
That will work your wrist but to work it even more, you want something that you're doing a fingertip pressure through. So say that's the Coke can or whatever the apparatus. It can be anything. It can even be flat. Yeah. But you want to be able to be doing that. That is your strength of your wrist, because as soon as that goes,
I see.
So you're actually you think you're doing your fingers, which is, but it's your wrist. You want to be keeping neutral position.
Okay, so actually not hooking the wrist.
No, the thing is, when any of those rolling handles over, you can do it with the Iron Mind or the Silarukov or any rolling handle.
You actually so if you have the knuckle closest to the hand is going to have a straight line down to the forearm.
If you do that, unless you have a wrist of maybe Storm Chelino, what will happen is it will pour out.
But is that position good? That hook position good to train?
Most people won't be able to keep it with enough resistance.
Really,
you try it.
Yeah.
I will get you on that baby inch later.
I won't be
which you'll lift it like that.
Really?
And then I'll tell you to lift it like what you think is going to be stronger, and it won't.
But just for controlling, not for lifting stuff, just for sort of controlling like chin strap or jaw strap position or underhooks or grappling.
I think what I want you to do is go back and have a little experiment, a scientific experiment, and see what your strength numbers say in that position or that position.
That's interesting,
because then that will give you some dynamics. Now, I don't know about the position of it feeling better because it's actually grabbing it better, the technical aspect, but the strength aspect, that should be stronger.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. That's definitely that Saxon bar that we're training with. I think I'm going to try and get hold of one of those.
Because if this was in this position, it'd be easier to peel. Once it starts to travel, you're gone.
Yeah. Your ability to keep it straight. Stronger. Sure. Okay. So not allowing
you wouldn't want to be back.
Not breaking inertia. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So training the wrists, training.
Yeah, the wrists can be trained with many things. So you can do very much old school wrist curls.
Yeah.
With a dumbbell.
Yeah.
Now the arm wrestlers will train it. Basically, won't go below that unless they're just the same as the curls where they want to do a full range.
Sure. Yeah.
But it will be there.
Yeah.
Because that's the exercise. Now you can do it with a pulley. You can do it with a dumbbell. You can do it with a barbell. If you've got two arms, you can end up straining wrist through because
over supination.
Both. It feels uncomfortable.
I don't feel. I don't know my ability these days, but I don't feel comfortable doing chin ups.
No,
I prefer
just work
grip.
one arm at a time. It's more beneficial. So on a table or on a thing with springs, with tubes, with anything, and you can work it from that point to upwards. Initially, to start with, just do loads of reps.
Yeah.
Just get a pump on.
Yeah.
And see how it feels. And then we start building up there. Yeah. In reality, that's probably all you really need. Yeah. You don't need a single, because it's pretty much the same sport as arm wrestling.
Yeah.
In the fact that
you're going to be going for a long time.
Yeah. Look, even if there's X amount of arm wrestles, setups, and everything, you need 20 minutes of being able to have strong wrists. Yeah. Not 4 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we got that still bend in, training the wrist. Let's say you were trying to train your, very closed hand support or your crushing strength.
Well, for your
gis.
guys who have got gi, I showed you that thumb screws exercise where it's basically like that. You've got to always be careful about that.
It's finger strength again, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Even with that one, you'll get the fingertip pressure.
Yeah. Do you ever use like the eagle loops, stuff like that?
I had them.
I have them. Don't use them.
Randy sent them me. Didn't like them and sold them on to someone else.
Yeah.
It seemed to be that they're not in the area that you want. You end up having them right up here. Yeah. You might as well, if you're going to do a crushing thing or a supporting thing, you might as well just use the barbell, or a gripper, for the crushing part. And
so you mentioned grippers. Grippers are something that a lot of people know about. A lot of people have seen them. A lot of people buy them to improve their grip. It was how I really started in grip many years ago when I first got interested in gripping. I just had a shitty plastic one, and then got Katzen Crush number 1. Used to take it into college. I had an all right grip at the time. I'd been doing a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and I used to take it in there and see if anyone else could. No one else could do it.
No one else knows the set.
Yeah, exactly. No one knows how to set it.
I find it sad when I see people walking around handing it to a strongman who clearly is way more stronger than them. And then, can you close this? Yeah. Look, mate, it's like a magician's act here you're doing. Show them how to set it first, and then we'll see if they can close it.
But I trained.
I remember realizing we had Andy Bolton here. Man was £1,000.
Couldn't close
signature.
Go on,
he was like fumbling around with a number 2, like it was like an eel, a live eel. So until the people get to know the technique of it, then it's not a party trick, but it's you're not showing the man everything. Yeah.
So with the grip, so I used to train a lot of grippers. I used to train grippers pretty much twice a week or 2-3 times a week, and got relatively strong. I started to feel that there wasn't a huge crossover between grippers and everything else. Do you find that to be the case? Or
with the crushing, the actual part of movement like that, there's not many sports you actually do it.
No, I think once you've got up
if you're going to weight up to a risk event, or even at the axle where you close, you hold your wrist.
Yeah.
It's a different thing.
I think
the best thing to do with the grippers,
holds.
For rehabilitation and lots of stuff, is holds.
Yeah, holds.
Or even inverted. Sometimes that's even better because it opens up this way.
Maybe you need to build your crush up to a certain amount.
If you want to get good at grippers, you go do grippers.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I at my best, I did a triple on the number 3 with a deep set. Always thought about going for the certification, but it's my hands aren't big. It's difficult. I know they say, well, you just got to be stronger, but
no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous rule.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Think about it.
To have to go out to credit card.
Look, we brought the 20 mil block out pretty much at the same time as what.
Do you feel
Randy
like the 20 block is enough?
Most of the American competitions use a 20 mil.
Yeah.
I know Ironman use the credit card. But anybody who's saying, anybody who says anything detrimental about any other particular thing is always a bit weak in my mind.
Sure.
Look, there's a zillion things that you can be strong. I'm not going to be bad-mouthing somebody who wants to walk from here to, I don't know, Kazakhstan, or they want to climb whatever, or they want to do this, or they want to do that. If you're doing something great, no one's weak because they can't close it. If it's too big for your hand, because I can make a gripper that is too big for everybody's hands.
Yeah.
And then what does that mean? That means nothing. Maybe one man on the planet, some 8'10" giant can close it. That makes him the strongest grip on the planet?
Sure.
No. It means that he's the only man on the planet who can use this gripper.
Yeah. No, it's fair enough. It's a good point.
You can't hold it. You're doing a different exercise to someone else.
Yeah, sure.
You're doing like one where your fingertips are so far out.
Yeah.
And then this other fella with his huge hands, he's like, well, this is like the deep set to me.
Yeah. People wanting to know how to get into grip training. So let's say people will be listening. They've never done any grip training. Maybe they haven't even done any physical training. And they listen, they train jiu-jitsu. They understand the importance of getting a strong grip. What sort of things should they start doing?
Contact me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, easiest thing, right?
Okay. Just get in
because
contact.
the conversation is basically after that. So you contact me. Hello, David. Whatever. And I'll say, well, it's good. Thank you very much for contacting me. And I guess some info on what you've done, what's your main interest, what are you doing it for?
Yeah.
And people's answers are so varied. So even like just saying to buy this piece of equipment or that, once you've had a chat with someone, I can, and our business is very much it's a small base. It's a small business, all done on people
communicate. There's a lot of communication.
It's not
sort of
Amazon.
Tailored.
It's not Amazon where you're going to buy click 5 things.
Yeah.
And
well, I think you have to email you to order anyway, don't you?
No, you can buy some
you
things,
can buy straight?
but realistically, the ship we'll try to save you shipping.
Yeah.
So the easiest thing is there's a thing there. Just contact us. I'm interested in getting stronger with a grip. Can you thing me? We'll basically get back with a few questions, and we can suddenly start to get yourself a package together that's going to be beneficial to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest way. Or ask anyone who's, close on hand. But the easiest way is probably to contact someone. Look, no different to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I want to get better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Look on Google. Oh, there's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu club near.
Yeah.
I'll go and see this man. Never done it before. Can you help me?
Yeah. Fair enough. Another one people ask is injuries. Especially hand, finger, maybe elbow injuries, stuff like that. I'm sure that you've had plenty of experience dealing with injuries, both from yourself and other people. What sort of advice do you have for people dealing with sort of lower arm injuries?
I've been pretty lucky on my hands.
Yeah.
Pretty much like yours.
Yeah.
Still looking beautiful.
Yeah. My secret is not doing gi.
that was probably actually the first thing I was going to say. I've seen gi hands, but okay, that's that.
You choose to hurt yourself. That's up to you.
Alex hurt his thumb about a year ago, and I told him right there and then, this fingers and the digits
take a long time to heal. Yeah,
they can easily take 6 months.
Yeah, I've had a thumb problem in my right hand for 2 years almost.
Clearly, if I was being a doctor, I kind of say, right, we need to rehabilitate, and what was hurting it, and then clearly you tell me Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and my next thing is maybe she
stop doing that.
Okay, but clearly then you say,
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, okay. So, how do you recover from your finger injuries? Well, taping it is one thing. Also, another thing, keeping it safe at night.
Yeah, you told me this. This is really interesting, really good advice.
Especially with thumbs.
Yeah.
Because you'll be asleep and you'll move your duvet and then shit. So
you've knocked it back another week now. Yeah.
Just put yourself a little bandage or even a glove on or something to hold it secure.
Yeah.
It looks a bit weird, but I've had a thumb injury and it will help it. But bearing in mind it's going to take that amount of time to suddenly start quietening down, whatever joint it is or whatever. Once it starts to get better, you'll kind of have like an itchy feeling inside it. So that's when you want to get in with your thumb and get massaging on any points that feels like that. You'll be sore but good.
Yeah.
Ibuprofen and ice. And when I say ice in it, you really got to sit there watching telly with it sitting on you till it goes mushy, and then you put it back in, and you do it again, and maybe 3 times a day. When somebody ices it, they ice. Oh, I iced it. But every day? Well, yeah, nearly every day. What, 3 times a day? Well, when I say nearly every day, okay, so you really did.
You iced it once when you did it.
Yeah, you iced it once. No, you actually got to sort of like really ice it down. It takes time.
Do you ever do contrast bathing?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
But you notice that there's an icing that is the effective part.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And other little area, we've got that exerciser over there, but you don't even need that exercise. Just get yourself a peg or something if it's your thumb and just work
small range of motion.
Range of motion so that you're working these motions. If it was one of your fingers, put the peg between so you're squeezing. Yeah. Just anything to start getting like just movement.
I think people make the mistake of really if they injure any body part, they isolate it, rest it, don't move it.
No, that's bad.
That's bad for you, yeah.
But re-injuring it with the same issue is bad.
So you got to get that balance, yeah.
When I've seen people in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now, obviously I've been around this now near 3.5 odd years. So I've seen people with injuries, and I've kind of wondered, why don't you just do some X amount a week, no gi, other kind of training, maybe in a standing Greco-Roman wrestling or something else.
Give your fingers a rest.
You could lose 6 weeks of training and not hurt yourself. Just adapt it so you're not just doing the thing that hurted it.
Yeah.
But that one sometimes falls on deaf ears.
Sure. And what about training extensors? Do you do any sort of the idea that you have that flexor that's going to be working a lot more and you can get some muscular imbalances
I've tried it. I found no difference.
Working sort of rubber bands.
I'd have to be sort of like honest and no.
Do you think that's because so a lot of people ask me, do you ever get tennis elbow or golfer's elbow? Do you ever get sort of epicondylitis because of the amount of...
I think some of these things you are destined to. So I think arthritis, some poor cells going to do everything right and get arthritis anyway.
Yeah.
I haven't got arthritis.
Yeah.
Clearly, well, you've done grip training for 40 years. You must get arthritis. No, I haven't.
Well, my answer to a lot of people who ask me, why don't I have sort of elbow problems, tennis elbow, because I do so much grip training, I say, well, because I do so much variety in grip training, I feel like I'm working it a lot more well-rounded.
That is a really good point.
If you just do gripping in the gi, you're working the same thing over and over. If you just did grippers every day, you wouldn't have healthy arms. But
absolutely.
if you do grippers,
the word was variety.
Yeah.
If you, when you see on a mountain a path, that's because that path's used all the time. But if there was multiple paths, there'd be less damage on that one path.
Yeah.
And that's a bit like sport and whole, is to sort of have a clever enough head to think of, all the areas you need, training them, but there's so many exercises.
Yeah.
So if somebody's having a problem with one exercise, I'd get them to strip it back. A bit like, no doubt, lots of you guys are out there doing bench press.
Well, we were talking about this yesterday, and I wanted to talk about this. You had this... we were talking about people trying to fight through injuries or fight through issues that they have because they think, oh, but I need to back squat, I need to deadlift, I need to bench press.
If you really question yourself and what you need out of that particular area to being trained, then you have the answer. So if these guys are not powerlifters and they are purely a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athlete, they don't need to really even know what their top max squat is, or deadlift, or anything. They need to safeguard their shoulders and every other joint that's hurting. So some of these exercises are destined to hurt, even if you are, thoroughly fine in these joints. Yeah. But if you're walking into with a shoulder injury and you're already now benching, and I've seen it, so I've seen hundreds. That's looking at hurting your shoulder, or you still got the issue. And, it's not too bad. I'm fine. I'm just taking some painkillers. But this is a constant. It's just ragging the rotator cuff all the time till it eventually goes.
Yeah.
And the bench press is one of those ones that it's just not kind on the rotator cuff.
Sure, just full stop.
And it forces you in this position.
Yeah.
Because this bar, and even worse than a bench with a barbell is a Smith machine.
Sure.
Because you haven't even got the ability to. Your arm will want to go in one position. In fact, both arms might not even be the same. It's just the way it is, So, I think we've got a bird on top of the gym. So I mostly always get people onto one arm bench presses.
Yeah, something that I've never really spent a lot of time doing, but one arm dumbbell bench press.
Yeah, one arm dumbbell bench press. I saw it many years ago with Michael Todd doing the barbell version, and then played with that. And
dangerous.
I had rotator cuff shoulder surgery, and it was just a godsend. It was all of a sudden I could actually.
You feel like your body gets into a more natural position.
I suddenly went into the exact position that my arm wanted. And I'm not even going to talk about the benefits. That when does anybody ever in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or any grappling use two arms in unison? Mostly you're doing one arm and another arm.
Yeah.
So it's far more beneficial to do one arm with the dumbbell and then do the other arm. And you'll find if you actually look from above, the flight path of both can be different. In fact, if you look at a barbell, somebody who has got a shoulder injury, look from you're in a spotting position and watch them. You can see the barbell sometimes.
Sure.
Or the barbell lagging, all sorts of issues. Which are all causing an issue. There's no two ways about it that sport at high end, will do something to your body. You get the benefits of the physical fitness and the mental well-being and the health, but you also get a workload going through joints, etc. So we understand that as athletes, and we encompass it, and we're all big about it, and that's it. But you don't want to sort of purposely when there's another 30 exercises you can
unnecessarily.
do.
Yeah. So you think unilateral for the whole body, split squats or pistols, lunges, unilateral in the lower body as well as the upper body?
Unilateral, what you mean?
You mean one-legged exercise, one side with the legs as well as the upper body?
Well, to be honest, I've never had any issues down there.
Sure.
So I've never had a problem. I've tried one-leg squats and it didn't seem as nice as two-leg squats.
Yeah.
So once again, it is you have to be your experiment on yourself.
Yeah.
But clearly, in your sport, you need flexibility.
Sure.
And like we did yesterday, I don't do a squat now if my arse is not 4 inches from the floor.
Yeah. Which is lower than people. Obviously, 4 inches is a very small distance from the ground. But when you look at it, and then when you actually go to it, I've got a very flexible squat, but I'm just getting there. It's because a lot harder than you think.
You guys do not want to be losing that flexibility.
Yeah.
You move your legs out another 5 degrees, then your guard is going to be compromised. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
So say for instance, we put another, I don't know, let's just say we put another 50 kilo onto your big time squat.
Yeah.
If you've seen, certainly powerlifter squats or anything, it's a hip hinge. It's not even coming through as much through the thighs.
Sure.
So it'd be better to do a front squat or a safety bar squat or a goblet squat.
Do you like safety bars?
I haven't got one, but I have used one before. Yeah,
I literally just bought one. Yeah,
nice. Absolutely, especially if you've got a shoulder surgery, shoulder injury, because now you can hold the bar here.
Yeah,
it's a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, for anybody with that's another thing. Forget about just dropping bench press if you've got a shoulder problem. But
back squat's a horrible position.
Goodness me, you're getting into that one, and all it needs is you can put many people pop the pec. On
doing squats. Wow. Yeah. So I know you've been into sort of the fight. You've been a fight fan, your whole life, really. But in the last 4 years, you said, obviously you've started to get into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because your daughter's been training and getting really into it. So I just want to hear if you have some observations as someone with an entire lifetime or many lifetimes worth of sporting experience. What's some of the interesting things that you see in Jiu-Jitsu? Or anything that you from your observations of doing jiu-jitsu, what would you say?
Well, that's it. I just arrived there. In fact, Lucy went to an MMA club first, but didn't have a lot of grappling, then went to grappling club, which was Chris's.
Yeah.
But over all that time, what I've seen is that this is clearly a sport you're going to have to take time. Holy moly. I could get somebody to be at... if I have a strong enough guy, I can get them up and running for a British novice Armwrestling championships clearly within a year. Whereas clearly a year is like nothing time in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I've got to put out a massive respect to every guy out there on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because you do 10 years or so. I think once you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah.
Why would you waste that amount of time and then not carry on?
Sure, I agree. I agree.
You've burnt that time.
Yeah.
You got to, that's it, stuff it.
Yeah.
Even if there's days you're hating it, you got to carry on.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you're fully in for this one. You're signed and sealed. I've got massive respect for that because this is not one of those sports where, you're going to just make it really quickly. So you come in there and yes, you're quite right with that. You will. If you have any ego, that it will be diminished pretty quickly. So you will now be, and that's exactly what I explain to anyone. Is just let it all go. Just learn this sport. Yeah. You will have 1,000 times of being tapped out. So this is your sport. This is what you've wanted to be. In my eyes, And the amount of sessions of technical work is wonderful. That's brilliant. In my eyes, I would like to see strength and conditioning as part of their club.
Yeah. And of course, that's I feel the same there. I think at whatever point I decide that, some point in the not too distant future to open a gym, I would never want to open a gym that didn't have strength and conditioning facility as part of that. I think that the two need to find a lot more harmony together.
Every pro, just you look at pros of the sports.
Yeah.
NFL, football. Manchester City football players.
Yeah.
Playing right now, doing the technical drills,
Yeah.
etc. I went to a Lilleshall. I went there 2 weeks in about 2000 for some back treatment. And so I was there 9 till 5. Oh my God. Then I realized what a pro was.
I've been there.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, what a facility that place is.
Oh my God. So you arrive at 9, and apart from the lunch, which you have beautiful food, the rest of it you train.
Yeah.
Whether you're in the water and you're running with the vest on, or you're on a cycle, or you're doing rehab exercises, rehab training. It's just constant. It's never. You're a pro athlete. You are now training 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So you can see in Man City, they're doing the drills with the football or
professionalism,
whatever.
Isn't it? Yeah.
You are now, they're looking at this individual. Is he strong enough? Is he agile enough? Is he fit enough? Is he injury healed? And that's what your gym wants to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes a hell of a difference. So your athletes now, you'll be taking them, they'll be stronger, as well as technically better.
Yeah.
As well as agile. If you have 20 athletes in front of you, you'll find something wrong with them.
Yeah.
If you're kind but mean, this is not good enough, build this.
Yeah.
And if you had this facility that had all these, you'll just hand that one on to the strength coach, or onto the plyometrics, or the masseuse, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a must. It's no pro sport doesn't do it.
Yeah. No. I think you're absolutely right.
And I think
there.
that's the next step for the top class. Yeah, they no doubt have it.
Yeah.
But for everybody who's got an aspiring gym, and I know Greg's got a wonderful gym being built there. I don't know. A lot of these are run by people who have got a job.
Yeah, exactly. And there isn't, of course, not the money in jiu-jitsu as there is even in MMA. I think if you look at what the UFC are doing, I don't know if you're following the UFC Performance Institutes.
No.
Unbelievable. They have one. I was lucky enough when I went out to Vegas for Quintet to go and visit the Performance Institute in Las Vegas. Amazing gym with all the trainers in there, but testing equipment and altitude chambers and all of these things. A good friend of mine who I've had on the podcast, Dean Amersinger, he is now heading up the UFC Performance Institute in Shanghai. It looks even better than the one in Vegas. These guys are testing isometric strength, they're testing their power, they're testing all of this stuff, really state of the art, really never seen before for MMA. It will be interesting to see if one day we actually get that trickling down into jiu-jitsu.
MMA's, this is the big sport.
It is, exactly. That's what
it's the young
huge
man's fight sport.
Yeah.
If I remember reading recently, it's boxing is the sport that is watched from 40-year-olds above, and
I think he. Obviously you have massive matches. The match that we had just a few days ago, Tyson and Wilder. These are huge matches.
These heavyweights have resurrected.
They have because you need. With boxing, you need the big heavyweights. There's always.
But I still like watching MMA.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a great fight.
Yeah,
but some of them are dull.
I think that
MMA
boxing has had its day. I really do. I think that there's always going to be fans of boxing. I like watching boxing at the highest level. There's always going to be fans, but I think that it can't compete with the variety that you get from MMA.
You can still think that person's going to win, but the variables are ginormous. And the variables are not as ginormous in boxing.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to talk to you about is because I'm sitting here looking at behind you, just very quickly, is your steel bending and snapping artwork, which I think is awesome. So if you can, obviously some people, they might be able to see it on they can kind of see it in the corner above your head there if they're watching the video, but for people listening, and you've got it all over the house. It's really, really cool, but you bend and snap steel and use it to sort of accentuate features on artwork where you're painting or drawing or
well, not all of it. I mean, I love art. If I had I think I said this, I had another life, I would probably be an artist. I studied sculpture. I really like art. I like going to view it. So, I mean, I go out with the pads. I'm always drawing or doing landscapes or anything. Ideas are on various pads and nows. But I like the the mixing of it's a little particular thing I do, mixing steel in it.
I think it's such a beautiful way of combining what you love with what
it's like a signature. I've had a piece in a gallery exhibited. Hopefully I will be getting more. I do like to have there is a story that is meaningful. I'm just not a person who's going to do just a piece of landscaping just for the sake of some pretty flowers on a hill. So certainly a lot more recently, they have a story, they have a current affair.
But I think if you look around here, you can see even down to the barbells has a story. Everything on the wall, all of these plates have a story. All of the pictures have a story. I think
maybe it's because I'm older.
I think might just be part of your personality. Is that everything has so much more gravitas
when left on the planet.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe I've come round and I've got 100 meters left to do.
Sure. Okay.
So I don't try to waste my time. So it's important. My hours are important. So art is a wonderful thing for my mind. I love putting the ideas. The ideas are as much fun. Then we get together, either whatever it is on paper or if it's on board or whatever, and we start painting or whatever. Some of the ones right now I'm loving to do. So I put various coats of paint on, and then I'll basically sculpt in and paint a design, let it dry, and then put other paint into the design and then sand it down.
Oh wow.
So that's a particular thing I'm using right now, and the design will come out. It's that blue and white when you see some lines come through. That's just very early. And this one here looking like metal. That's not metal? No, it's not metal.
No.
It's not metal, it's wood.
Wow, that's really cool.
So you sand it down and then you varnish it all up.
You've got them all around the house, and I really like some of them. They're very cool.
We do. I do many commissions per year. Commissions. I like the artwork. I like doing them for. I'd love to have something hanging up and. I love all sorts of art. I love graffiti art. I love everything. So I've even thought of other genius ideas, or less genius, but just even doing bits of art and then going into a town and just hanging it there in a town. And just in the middle of the night, and just tying it to a lamppost and watching what people do.
Tying it by bending steel around the lamppost to connect it on.
I have thought of that one. I'm bending it onto some railings and then just leaving it.
Do you ever do steel sculptures? I know the guys in the States scrolling.
Yeah, sometimes.
I did that way back in the day. I got a DVD from Jed and one of the guys there who they basicly take bits of steel and bend it round and round and make crazy things out of it.
I have an idea.
Sure.
And it has to be that. So when you see some of the ones, the double bends and the things, it's like you can spoil it. You're a millimeter out and the bend's gone too far.
Sure.
I did a heart for Valentine's Day. For Elizabeth. Out of 12 mil, short one, really hard.
Very tough.
Took me an hour to bend this into to a heart, and then I drilled 2 holes into wood, placed it in there, and
that's awesome. Put some work into it.
So there's a lot more. I've got some crazy ideas. That's how we'll see.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I feel like we could go on for a long time. There's a lot more. We'll call it for that. For today.
What's the time there?
Have a guess, because you were worried we were. Come on, don't look down. Come on, have a guess.
I don't know. Hour and a quarter. Hour and a half.
Do you want to know?
Yeah.
3 hours.
No way.
I told you.
Oh my God.
What did I say yesterday? I said we're just going to have a chat and it's going to be 3 hours and you're going to think it was... I told you. That's exactly...
Yeah, you are right.
I said exactly that yesterday, wow. So we're just a touch under 3 hours.
These poor sods are going to listen to us for 3 hours.
And I think, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was so glad when I managed to finally... grind you down enough to agree to do this, and maybe if you're happy with it and everyone enjoyed listening, I'd love to come back. There's so many things, interesting things about you that we didn't even get to touch on. So I'd love to maybe even do another one for the future.
We'll come back and chat about Lucy just winning the ADCC.
Absolutely, sounds good. David, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That is it. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you want to find out more about David, or if you want to get in contact with David, he is not on Instagram, but he is on Facebook, and David Horne. Otherwise, you can check out his website where he's got a load of articles, He's got his contact information there, and of course the shop where you can buy some David Horne made goodies. That is David Horne's World of Grip, if you want to Google it. Otherwise, the website is davidhorne-gripmaster.com. For me, see if I remember how to do this. If you want to get in contact with me, you can email me at podcast@raspberryape.com. You can follow me, or you can find me on Twitter or Instagram, mainly Instagram, at raspberry_ape. If you're not watching this, if you're listening to this, then you can check out my YouTube page where I've got these podcasts and some other things, which is youtube.com/raspberryape. And that's about it, isn't it? If you're not subscribed, then subscribe, whether it's Spotify, whether it's SoundCloud, whether it's iTunes. Subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family. Hopefully I can get some decent podcasts out to you. And if you live in the UK, especially up north, where I'll be for the next month or so, and you have any good ideas for people for me to have on the podcast, shoot me a message and I'll see what I can do. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, guys, and hopefully I catch you very soon. Take it easy.